that we don't have any internet issues because I didn't get to do a test stream because I was watching another stream and I was doing a bunch of other shit. Alright, I think we're okay.
Ooh. Okay, so definitely the Stein, and then we might not have talked about the Stutzer, the Gelgoop.
Damn, that has been a minute then. I can still hear you in my headphones. Wait, did the other one not update properly? That title looked different. Yeah, I think Stream Elements is just drunk.
Forgot the syringe. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Good evening. Nice night for a battle, wouldn't you say?
Oh shit. Nope. That's how it's supposed to move. What the hell? Oh, you know what though? I think yeah. Alright, let's go to the live end for YouTube, because I gotta switch some stuff over there. And we'll get going hopefully soon.
My dog's hearing me tear this plastic and stuff, and he's like, treat.
Gotta do the upkeep. It's true. It's kind of crunchy. Oh, and Payday Vase here. Wait, why did I get moved? Oh no, I'm in the right spot. I was gonna say, like, what the hell? Similarly though, Crunchy Ninja with the Prime sub, thank you very much. Going on for 4 months in a row. Hope you enjoy your emotes, and thanks for coming by today. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a little bit of catch up, talking about GBO2. Last time we had a special guest, so that was a little bit different. Although, depending on what we get into, we'll probably rag on it. Oh, also, it's not GBO2 related, but Gun Evil had that stream this morning, talking about their future plans and season 3. I don't know if you actually saw that or not, Magnum. Oh, I heard him for a second. I thought he was back. Oh,
I did not. There we go.
okay, there you go.
I swapped it to activation.
Also, that there's 2 eyes in there.
What did they say for the Evo?
So, a lot of unit adjustments. No new map per se, but new suit. And they're talking about doing a new suit per month. February, April.
Hey.
February,
Now,
March,
can
and
we
April, so.
Grind for them?
They're doing other events to kind of like similar to that holiday one that they did, so you can get some more points a little bit faster. And apparently they're going to be doing some sort of social media event. The one that they were talking about was JP only, but the guy that was translating promised that there was going to be ones for outside of JP as well. We just don't know what those are yet. So they're still trying to get in there. Also, where's your camera, sir?
Is it not up?
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I mean, oh my god. Oh no, it's a the big brain.
Big buff. Big brain, big buff.
Have you been trying to run it?
Yes.
Oh.
I haven't seen a 700 game though.
Wah, wah.
But it does feel pretty good though to like double melee kind of combos. If you know, for instance, the other support, you're just like smack, dash, smack, dash. Smack, you just keep it going. It's so good.
Oh my god.
Did I show you what I've got for Tarkov now? I'm gonna try to get these. I still haven't got them set up for the thing, but I can't remember if I showed you this or not. Like, so if I'm really going in and I'm being a Chad, like there's this,
Oh my god.
or
I think I did see that one. Yeah. That one, if you can actually get that one as a filter for like editing, that'd be really good too.
What?
What the fellow dog?
Oh yeah, I made burr noises, so he's like, oh yes, attack. I got a needle in my hand, please. No.
I shall face you in combat. Come here.
Go lay down. Nope. Go lay down.
I shall not defeat doggo.
I got the bubbles out of this thing. I do this like once every 3 days. Just so happened I was not paying attention. Otherwise I would have done this sooner.
Ooh, it's not cooperating with it. No, I did flip it, so what the... Yeet. There we go. That's better.
Well, hello. I've left you a present in the reward center when you're ready.
Say it's funny, the last time that we used this actually was back on the Masala post.
And the Gaz El Grau, I think. That's the base one I found. Was the Gazelle, and then I just saw the Masala just then.
Come again. Promise me you'll come back.
Hey, pilot. Anything you need? It's finally ready. Sorry for the long wait. Ended up something like this. Will this be all? Leave it to me. Thanks.
I'm a little sad that the snowballs actually go through people now. Except on certain parts of like different hats and stuff. Body, it just slips through.
I handle pilot sorties, making preparations for sorting. Come back in one piece, okay?
Oh my god, we're so early in the day that it's still only 3 sorties on the rated list. Yeah, I'm pretty much set up on my end.
Yeah, I'm just getting the topics list, and all I gotta do is stick myself, and then I'm pretty much good to go.
Okay,
I
okay.
gotta redo the cameras. That's the last thing.
Your team's ready. Make your final preparations. Your team's ready. Make your final preparations.
Looks like Chad tried GBO2 again. But unfortunately, he was trying to carry in the Alex and couldn't do it. Almost like the board too.
Let's go.
Downtime and the Hangar. What's going on, Asian? How it be? They're just setting up right now.
Okay, that one hit a nerve. Ooh.
Ooh, ugh.
Mm.
I was gonna say earlier we don't get an oof out of that.
Yeah. There's the little needle.
Blech.
Approaching the main area now. Mobile suit team, move out.
How would dare.
There we go. Honk.
Commencing operation.
I'm gonna go ahead and get this live, and then I'll see if I can go.
Oh, the
do
A's
my
and
dog
onions.
once. And then I'm good to go.
The enemy has captured a beacon. Beacon captured.
That's how you know this scene's really old. There's no EA.
Right?
You know what? That's probably for the best because we're doing the podcast, but I might have to go in there and get rid of that real quick.
An ally is requesting support. Shield damage.
Bruh.
An ally is requesting support. You really did it. Enemy unit down. Well done. Allied unit destroyed. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. You've taken some light damage.
Ah, that fucking Night Seeker, get away from me, stop it! No!
Not the Night Seeker.
Last much longer.
But we take the melees, I mean he's here.
Violate.
Beacon captured.
Oh wow, he actually didn't roll. You think he's gonna miss that one? Maybe he did.
You're in danger there. Move. An ally has destroyed an enemy.
Yep.
Long-range supporting fire incoming.
Bye bye.
Enemy unit down. Well done. Supporting fire complete. Supporting fire hit the enemy. Go press the advantage.
Blind. There we go.
Components
Oh my leggies! My luggers! Oh! Get him, Jay! There we go.
destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
I was like, why aren't they boosting but my shield's gone? Shit.
Stop for repairs. Beacon captured. Select components overloaded. You need to stop the repairs.
Yeah, let me go see if I can see what my dog wants, and then I'm good to go. Be right back.
Cool.
Allied unit destroyed. Where and how will you redeploy?
I was about to say, where's our raid? And he's dead again. Never mind.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Get out there and try again.
Okay.
Oh, there's a let me no.
Allied unit destroyed.
Also looking back.
Allied unit destroyed. Taking heavy damage, pilot. You are right. That mobile suit won't last much longer. Enemy unit down.
I was gonna say, how's that initial burst not enough? Ugh.
Oh, have you? Which I know we're going to talk about, but have you tried the Mark V? Speaking of initial burst.
Not yet, actually. And I guess we can talk about that a little bit more when it comes to it, but yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
I can't remember if it was on a Delta or what support it was, but I was just like, smack, smack, dash back, smack, it was dead. I was like, whoa, this thing's melee's insane. And just the amount of boost it has now is actually kind of disgusting.
It's interesting because some of the adjustments they're doing for Evo, they stopped the one combo for the Marseille. They killed the damage that the Serpent actually does and just gave it like, I want to say a little bit more speed, like it's even faster than it was before. Something crazy like that. So essentially, they're trying to make a lot of those guys stick with their team more, so that they're just not like hanging out and Batmaning people off of like buildings and shit.
Beacon captured.
I kind of like that better, honestly. That way it's more of a...
But similarly, they're talking about doing a system like GVO2 used to have for the rating, so that if you get your ass beat in a team match, but you did really well individually, you might get like less points taken away, yada yada, instead of it just being flat. So legitimately just like the retro system for this.
Oh no.
That's not going to be implemented this time around, but
I'll
they're talking about
exploit
it.
it for sure. I'll be in my team for points.
2 minutes left.
Which is funny because they were specifically talking about they wanted to change stuff for the leave system but not do anything super crazy so that people like wouldn't game it like that, like, oh, someone leaves, takes a hit for the team so that other people in their group don't like lose their rating. But it's like, well, if I don't game one thing, people are gonna game another, so it depends on how much of that they actually implement though, or if they realize that for the whole rating thing as well.
An ally is requesting support. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Bomb planted in enemy
Okay.
base.
Pretty much ready to go, and then we can just kind of go through the list and I'll pull stuff up as we go for the previous suits. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, marker.
Allied unit destroyed.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Downtime in the Hangar, where we talk about all things GBO2 and always intensify the tangent.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens this time.
This time might be one of the... Well, we've had a couple of these, but I'm joined by Gustav the 13th.
Yep.
So, how's your week been?
It's been okay, actually. Just mostly dealing with work. Checking out some other streams. Trying to play some GBO2 as always, of course. Oh god, I just got done swung. Speaking of which... Oh, no, leave me alone. Oh, I almost died. Okay, no, I'm okay.
Friendly or enemy downswing?
Thankfully, enemy. Still horrifying because it was just a bunch of them being like, oh, get that ass! Because it was at the end, but we're okay. But, been doing that a lot. Got back into Champions of the Continent the other day, as well as doing some more Cyberpunk, getting towards the end in terms of some of the bigger side quests, and then we'll be doing our finale for that soon, hopefully. Beyond that, just trying to crank out some videos here and there. Work's kind of been kicking my ass, so I'm sure I'll be feeling like garbage during this week coming up. But hopefully we'll have a couple shorts or videos. I need to wrap up the one for the banner suit this week, actually. Hopefully I can do that after this. We'll see. But what about you?
Well, I did want to ask a little bit about Cyberpunk. Not to tangent too far into it, but...
It's literally been a couple minutes in this, man.
But, the King of Tangent here. But yeah, the as far as like the mods you used, what's been kind of like your favorite mod? And like, because I don't recall, because I know I've asked you, and probably talked about it on another episode. But what kind of mods are you using? And
so there's been a fair amount. I can put the mod list in our chat real quick too, but. Some of the integral ones have been like vehicle combat's been really good, because on top of getting the ability to like shoot out of cars and have other people shoot out and stuff like that, you also have the ability for like people that you attack outside of like citizens to call in reinforcements, so they'll call like backup up and stuff like that. We got one more recent. The more recent one that we did is actually for a whole different OS that you can put in, where you can actually craft and use bots or like drones.
Oh.
You can do it to like 2. You can have like special hacks to repair them or to keep them up longer, stuff like that. And it goes all the way up to like some of the bigger like attack drones, like those huge hulking ones you can actually use. All the way down to like these little like laser drones that actually explode when they lose all their health. So it's been cool to see that. The thing that's kind of made that work a little bit better is that we also have one that allows you to use 2 OS slots. So normally where you'd have to switch out your cyber deck or your Sandevistan and all that stuff, you can actually have at least 2 in. There's another mod that actually lets you edit more into yourself, but that one's a little bit more permanent, a little bit more wonky with the way that it actually implements that, so I didn't want to fuck with that too much. There's been a fair amount of others, but those are some of the bigger ones. Also in time dilation. So some of the Sandevistans actually have a more like unique effect with the way that they work in terms of how much they actually dilate time and the way some of that behaves. Like some will actually let you like teleport or like blink around people, or like be more similar to the show where it's like you do all this stuff and then it like plays out. So yeah, it's been neat to check out all that stuff. I feel like if it wasn't for a lot of those mods and stuff, you probably would have been done a little bit faster with this game. So it's been cool to see how well a lot of those works actually integrate with the game itself, almost like it should have been that way from the start. So
all right. I'm probably gonna do either a quick kind of playthrough, just going through, not really a speed run, but you know, kind of like just run through it just to get it done with some mods right before the
DLC.
What's the DLC called again?
Something Liberty,
yeah, whatever. But yeah, as soon as that's about to hit, I'm probably gonna try to do that playthrough with some mods, try those out, and then see how better or worse the new experience is, because they're hopefully adding, you know, a lot of the stuff in that they're still kind of working on.
Yeah.
I have to say they have done quite a bit. I went back to it and kind of played it. Of course, you know, the anime made me want to play the game, and you know, it was a little fun, but I just kind of played it a little bit here and there, just off stream, just to kind of be like, kind of still Cyberpunk, pretty much, just not as broken as when it first came out.
Yeah, like there's still some HUD stuff and some other goofy shit that happens, but it's definitely a lot better.
Your team's
It is really funny though.
final preparations.
Some of the, you know how some of the enemies can use sandies as well.
Yeah.
And if you catch them at a certain point where they're like neutral, they'll start to like matrix dodge your shit if their sandy's like strong enough. Some of the poses still don't play right on occasion, and you'll just have them viciously T-pose for like a split second and then go back to doing the matrix dodge. It's the it's the Bawu all over again.
They're asserting dominance over your bullets.
It's like, yeah, you ain't hit me, bitch. I don't even have to move. Oh, whoa.
But yeah, like as far as the I will say too, just the show, not the tangent on that, but yeah, that's still my anime of the year from last year.
I'm noticing that you're saying not to tangent, and then you continue to do so.
Yes. not to tangent much. That's as far as I'm gonna go, because I could gush about that show for.
It was a really good show, though.
3 hours, easy. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's just really good. It's funny. It's one of the more recent shows, or just any shows in general, that I've watched more than once.
Nice.
Within even a short amount of time, I've watched it more than once. It does help that it's kind of like only, what, 3 hours-ish?
Yeah, it's pretty bite-sized compared to like other like full-blown like season stuff and all that.
So yeah, so that definitely does make it a little bit easier. But
I mean, we're also in Witch for Mercury hiatus time too, so if you haven't actually watched that yet, that's another good one to pass some time with.
yeah, that was really good as well. But anyway, yeah, as far as tangenting goes, but yeah, I am curious to know what you think once you get to the end though, so I'll probably ask you again. But
yeah, I'm going for a very specific ending because I've seen some of it already. So
I do have this question though, like as far as the, obviously the disappointment that it was, as far as just ignoring that a bit as just a game, if it came out now as it is, or even with the mods that you've done, like how does it feel? Is it kind of fun, acceptable, okay, great, bad?
it feels pretty good. I feel like there's a lot of other FPS games that kind of try to do what it's done. Having something that's already outside of like the usual Bethesda engines feels really good. It's definitely like no modern Doom, but I've seen some pretty crazy sequences that people can pull off. Like it gets pretty fucking close. And they're also talking about, and I know we're talking about it like in its more current state, but the vehicle combat thing is actually going to be implemented, and they're also talking about doing some adjustments to melee. So I wonder what that's going to be like, because that might actually make some of that a little bit crazier too.
That, yeah, I definitely would like to revisit and do some more melee stuff rather than just, some of the stuff being OP and you kind of just cleave everybody from a mile away with like the wire and stuff like that.
Yeah, I used the gorilla arms mostly because I was also doing beat on the Brat. So.
Okay, yeah. The other thing I guess to mention is, after they do the DLC, they're not right after the DLC. They're ending support for the game essentially.
Yeah, because they're gonna move on to another.
Yeah,
project.
they're gonna move on to number 2. Is what I like. Isn't that what they're doing? They're just straight going on to the next game, right?
I think so. And I feel like they also stressed that it wasn't gonna be like a direct sequel either, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna pretty much be like, their chance to do it right the second time kind of thing, because they've already.
We'll see. Because I watched one of them brain itch and be like, we should do a new engine. And
no.
And they get right up in the same situation. I don't doubt
they
it.
Can, if they go from where they're at, work on it for 5 to 10 years from where they're at right now, make a new game.
Like imagine if GBA 2 did that. Like this is already something that they built up again from the ground up. Is very different from the PS3 thing.
And see, that's the other thing with GBO2, kind of to bring it more back to this, is like, GBO2, you know, like, we're still getting features, or we're still having reworked features, essentially. And, you know, that's something we talked about last week, is just a lot of their systems are kind of like half done still, and or not even utilized. Dahlia.
It's a lot of to be announced. Light releases.
But anyway, as far as it goes for the past week, for me, just GBO2 for the most part, been pretty hyped to get back in it. The PC version kind of reinvigorated the game for me, not gonna lie. And, you know, just been kind of enjoying just playing the game again. It is kind of funny though, the complaints that I feel that I have now based on just playing the console version. You know, like too much dodging, and I just want to get into the game, and, you know, people like just leaving because I want to play one suit and they don't like it or something like that, you know, or the front line's going to be rough, those kind of comments, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Other than that, Tarkov. That's been the other thing. Just still not escaping. But definitely keeping my trying to stay in the Chad status and not the rat status. If I could find the rat one here. Oops. Where's that? There we go. No rats here.
None whatsoever. Oh my god.
Nope, no rats here. But yeah. Anyway, the things we've missed, there has been a lot. And we're definitely not going to be able to get to everything, or we're going to definitely skim over some things. I guess, do you want to start with the suits? And I'll kind of go through the list here, and we can bring up these and talk about these. So I think the last one we definitely talked about was the Sinaju Stein. So there is that. Then I think the Gyogu Stutzer was the next one, followed by the GM mid-range support, which...
It's a lot of that era after Stein was a very interesting, like, kind of middle ground era.
Yeah.
Now that being said, the mid-range one did get used a lot and still does even now.
Then Galzom Gunner. Then that was the announcement of the winter stuff, and that's where the winter stuff began. Bring up the step-ups, kind of look at those a little bit. Gustav Karl happened. Your suit, Gustav! Yay! Then we had. Okay, I kind of don't like how they have these sometimes, because it's like, here's the campaign, yeah, it's under the campaign list for the actual suit, how they're like naming these, and then it's like the actual supply drop game update, and I'm like, wait, what?
It's like, hold on.
You gotta pick one here. Let's see. So if I miss one, oops, my bad. The narrative B packs, I'm gonna go ahead and just say that's it. And oh yeah, then we got all the Jesta craziness. And right after that should be the Phoenix. Yep, right here, Phoenix. And then here's the Hazen Flea. I was like, what?
The Hazen shoot.
Okay, then we got Advanced Hazel, Silver Haze, and then finally, where we're at. There we go. Okay, That is a lot, actually. So any of these, other than that I just mentioned, I'll probably actually go back through them again here as we go through them. But any of these that don't really stand out or anything like that, well, we can just kind of mention them and then skip. Or just mention that they were bad. Like
Oh, no.
First support we come up on here. But yeah, Gelgoog Stucer. I played it recently. I had it for a little bit. Finally got to try it. I actually really love that suit. It's pretty much the Gelgoog Marine Commander, but kind of better. It's a little bit tankier. I think is one of the main things with it.
I was gonna say it's definitely thicker in a different way. It's a stocky motherfucker for sure.
Yeah, so I was definitely getting a little bit issues with maybe getting stun locked because it's pretty easy to hit. But other than that, though, like dropping the mines, like running away, kind of having a way to cover a corner, and then like you look at somebody else, and if somebody's trying to flank your support or whatever, I drop the mines over there for instance the raid, and then started shooting the other direction, and then as they come around, pop the mines, and then proceed to go on the raid. Been doing some cool tricks like that. Like that's been a lot of fun. So I'm definitely a fan, but I love all those Stucer suits so far.
It's a higher tier suit. Shut up, Asian. You don't use that suit.
There's a Rick Diaz Stucer, I think, is another one. I don't know if that would be the support. I think that's the support one. The only thing is it looks like it might actually be an only space suit. I don't know how they're going to make that work otherwise. But
for the
yeah,
Setzer, I used it a little bit. Seems a little involved with some of the mines and stuff. But it definitely has the chunk. Pretty survivable. Not my first choice for that cost range, but not bad.
the next one is the GM SP3 mid-range support unit. I mean, the only thing I have to say about the suit is it's bad. And it needs.
You know
like,
what though? It's one of those suits that, like, despite people being like about it, it constantly gets picked. It's a very much like an I don't know kind of support suit. Where like if you don't really know what to pick, and you just know that you need some sort of support, it just shows up. It just shows up there.
Yeah, I haven't seen much success with this thing. But yeah, I don't know. I still say it's bad.
No, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that for whatever reason it gets run a lot still.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But
I think because
guess-
there's worse is the idea.
yeah, I guess there's that. It technically has a shield, and then it does have that cannon.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of okay, but
Ooh, yeah.
the next one I actually forgot about until the recent raid that had this as a level 2, the high boost GM with the machine guns. I kind of want that one. But, I mean, other than that, it's just kind of a raid that doesn't have a heavy attack.
Yeah, it's kind of... It almost feels a little bit naked because it doesn't have them, but I get what they're trying to do with it.
They saw the new SD Gundam game and were like, we gotta put something in. Oh, okay, so here's some of the stuff from November. Actually, you know what? We'll push this back to after we talk about the suits. Then we had the Gazom Gunner type,
Oh boy.
which I really like. I'm a big fan of that suit.
I got it. I haven't really had too much of a chance to run it, besides, like, I think maybe once. That's another one where you see it on occasion. Nothing super crazy, but it's more than serviceable.
Yeah, the beam actually has got a ton of damage on it, and its sub weapons are actually really good. Other than just the beam rifle being pretty consistent.
notifications going rabid because of the high boost.
Oh no. Oh, and then here, oh, okay, so I clicked on the Gustav Karl, but I got the half off step up for it. But yeah, Gustav Karl. What do you think of that suit? Because I know you've definitely played it. I don't have it, and I've just seen it kind of be very tanky and explode.
Yeah. I mean, there's some maps, like on City, I like it a lot. If you're in bigger, wider maps, it can still kind of bully, but you really do need to be, like, in tandem and in the group for that. Trying to face tank too much in a spot where there's a lot of, like, high power range punish can be pretty brutal in that suit. Cause it's like, wow, I'm not dead yet. Oh god, they're really chipping at me still though.
What do you feel on his damage?
Sometimes it feels amazing, especially when you're actually landing your down swings consistently. And other times it's like, man, I really wish I could close that distance a little bit faster so I can do that again. Because the rifle really is just for an extra stun. The bazooka, depending on what you hit, can do a good amount of slappage. But overall, it's not really for a lot of midline DPS.
The enemy has captured a beacon.
Yeah, that's about what I've found as far as shooting it.
Yep. The nice thing though is that it's pretty tanky. It can be a good bully suit when you actually do close in, because you're just like looping them and keeping them down. Every once in a while, especially if you have someone trying to finesse you for the extra damage, you can just block it. And, like, your block's essentially your roll. You just do it standing. It reminds me a little bit of like Smash, where you just do like neutral dodges or whatever. It's a little bit more fumbly than that, but still the general principle is still there.
Then before we get into the December stuff, where the winter event stuff happened, I guess the November stuff that they put in, they did a little bit of a pretty hard slap on the wrist, but still a slap on the wrist for the unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And then they slap on the wrist for the Banshee was the main things that happened during that. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it more, but the unicorn finally gets hit pretty hard, which, from the looks of it, is bringing it pretty into balance, from what I've seen so far. But yeah, the first time, were you expecting more or less or about what they did from the where they actually made the initial nerf? I know we talked about it, but I can't remember what.
Yeah,
your prediction was.
I always expect less. I'm actually pretty surprised in what they did, and it does make sense. So it doesn't feel like a lot still, but you can definitely tell just by the way that people are running things on rating and stuff, that it's definitely made a difference in terms of how hard it's run and just the way that people run it now. So.
Well, the second one was kind of what I was expecting the first time. But the first little nerf was, 2,000 health off the heal part, and instead of 20% damage reduction, 15. So, I mean, that's, it was already a problem before it got to that point, right?
More or less.
It is interesting though that it went from 80% to 59% use rate though. And I think that's kind of more of the culture in most games, where it's like, oh, it got nerfed, it's garbage, I'm gonna swap to something else, right?
Yep.
Like that. And you can see the people that definitely kept using it because they knew it was still completely broken, all of its stats went up. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, the lower end of the average just got completely cut out by that initial nerf.
Bryson kind of got brought back in during that, which was kind of cool. I've definitely tried that out recently. That was the big Zeta plus A1 steak sauce buff, which is actually insane. Giving it the rifle. Bolivo's got the radar thing, which it pretty much makes it a beacon to say, hey, come kill me. It does help for targeting for a little bit, but then I just normally get run at at that cost, because everybody's like, oh, that's definitely probably the bowl of oats. Get him. White Rider's still doing pretty good. Quests, I tried the quests actually yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. It feels better, but not good.
What would you want?
Definitely...
What else would you want on it?
I mean, it just needs more damage right now at this point. Like, they've kind of given it some things. Like, if they're not going to give it a full, like, defense, either it needs to have, like, some more defense layers, or they just need to up the damage pretty significantly at both levels. I mean, even looking at it, like, it is getting the average, and if that is the average at 74,000, cool, I guess I was close to average at like 60, but every other support that I play at that, I'm hitting like 80 to 150, just way more consistently. Like, I thought I was having a really good game too, is the other thing. So I was trying the new beam rifle that got added to it, so I was like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. And it, you know, that worked pretty well, and it was pretty good damage, and it felt like I was doing a lot, and then I get to the end and I'm like, 68k damage or something. I'm like, what?
Right.
I thought I did way more than that actually. So I don't know. Maybe it needs. I don't know exactly what it needs, but it definitely needs some more help. I think it's either they gotta just go straight for the damage or give it way more defense. But
Get ready to move out.
the focus time being reduced definitely helped. I actually forgot about that. But yeah, and that was that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the Zaku 4 at that range is always killer. I still want one of those, dude. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, that's yeah. We'll go over the Zaku 4 here in a little bit. Yeah, when we get to the, we'll just cover that in this month's kind of buffs and nerfs, because we'll go over the what changed. But yeah, the Zaku 4, I kind of wish I had that now, because when it first came out, it was super garbage. Actually, is that one that... Did I miss that one here? Wasn't that one of the ones we didn't talk about? Or maybe we did. Or maybe it is old. How old is that suit?
I think it was
Is that an October suit?
It might have been within that range still.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was back in early October. Okay.
Yeah,
we
like
talked about that one.
it was pretty solid. It just wasn't really commonly rolled on. And then they I think they touched on it. But also they yeah, it's true. They also got outshined by the Delta, and to a certain degree it still does, because it's still not very commonly picked.
Yeah. I mean, the Delta still has crazy damage either way. So like they hit some of its health and stuff, but yeah.
Didn't
The
really
damage
do
is
much.
still there with
Yeah.
it. Okay, so winter event. What did you think of the event as far as like all the stuff they did for it, missions, the suit, and as far as the step ups for the, which is what I got pulled up here, my first thing is all the step ups that they had were pretty much traps to get you to get rid of your tokens personally before the you know, B packs and the Phoenix hit. Is my take on that.
Which is funny, because the B-Pack says it was like a sink for the Phoenix.
Yeah, pretty much, really. It really was.
But yeah, the step-ups were the usual fare. I feel like we rag on them pretty bad, but, you know, it's nothing to be too surprised about, I guess. Little bit thin on some of the other bonuses, but overall, it's part of the course, right? Like, we've been doing events like this for 4 years or so. It's not too outside the norm for those.
Yeah, I don't think it was really standout this time. It was just kind of more the what you'd expect for the most part. Suits wise, though, I think we got the Jesta Shazar type Team B. I think that was one of the ones during... Yes, here we go. Yeah, there's the date right there, actually. I really like this suit. No, I think it does. It is a little lacking in some cases, but I really wish I actually got this suit. I love the amount of damage it can put out in snipe mode and all the stuff that it has, bells and whistles wise. But I think it is lacking in a couple of areas. I'd be really curious if they actually do a buff to it to see what its stats actually is. But I think the damage potential is definitely there. I just think it has normal support suit problems.
It's a little unfortunate because I do feel like the more recent support that just dropped actually overshadows it a little bit.
Too, right? And because it is a 650 cost, like
yeah, they're both 650s baseline.
Yeah, so does it have the when you crouch avoid stun the Jesta? If it doesn't, I think it just needs that. Like at this point, just give it that.
Yeah, it does. It has a stabilization device.
Oh, it does? Okay. Then maybe if it doesn't have damage control 1, give it that or something.
Yeah. Because you know why they didn't give it that though? Because it has that stupid defense mode. And they want you to do the stabilization because of the rapid sniping. Because that's its big gun regardless.
Yeah. I mean, what was weird is I just remembered coming up behind one and shooting it, and I was like, wait, doesn't it have stabilization? I just stunned it. What? So I don't know if it got hit right before, or the beam that I was using had just a little too much build up.
It might have, like, depending on what you had.
But yeah, it was... I don't remember what suit I was in. But I was just like, well, it got stunned. Lol. Oh yeah, I shot the missiles from the, Shard Dija.
Oh.
Yeah, so I took half of its health at the same time. But it also was stunned from it. So...
It's a fair amount of stuff downrange. It's like 4 different.
But overall, pretty good support though. Again, I definitely want that suit.
Some of the matches have felt pretty good in it. Others it feels like it's like I'm trying to help. I'm doing some damage. They are getting whittled down, and then it's just really hard for getting the finishing shots. That being said, and I feel like this actually goes back into the Defensor B. It has a lot of the usual Roselle stuff, but then like the shoulder cannons are pretty good for just streaming out damage as well.
Wait, which suit?
Anyways, no, there's no real way to do it for the servers and stuff. It just kind of is what it is.
For what suit?
For the Roselle.
Oh, okay, yeah, for the current one. I was like, wait a minute, what? But yeah, in comparison to the Jesta, it's the compared to the Jesta.
Yeah, the only other thing is just making sure that you have your
Gundam B packs.
Your cables
came out right after that.
Land in.
Big 4-star 650 gimmicky kind of. How many of these do you see? I see videos of it or people using it.
What is it?
But that's about it. The B packs.
I don't see it that much anymore, to be honest. Every once in a while you'll see it. There's a lot of people who are really interested in the field early on, and then it just kind of fell off after a while. The usual stuff just kept getting whipped out.
I feel like the field is kind of a gimmick when it works. It's cool, but most of the time it's hitting a little slow. I feel like they're gonna have to buff the actual like quality of life of using that thing. Like maybe make it a little more instant, kind of ish.
Well, the bigger thing is that it definitely seems like as long as you get hit by the field, then it still is on there. I don't know if anyone can confirm that or not.
Like if you get touched by it, it's got like a duration.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool. If it's like that, then yeah, if they make it a little bit more responsive, then I think it'd be fine. The only time I've been hit by it though is as a support, and you know I'm not moving fast anyway, so it's not hard to hit me with much stuff. especially if I'm like in the game hawk or something, right? Or a Zommel. So, then we got one of the craziest raids in the game right now that can do some crazy cracked stuff. The other just a Shazar, this time the Type Team A.
Yep. A
And
vicious raid.
yeah,
Stealth raid to boot.
yeah, it's stealth. That's the other crazy thing. So it's stealth, and it can like just boost up whenever while moving forward. It can just up boost, and that is actually just insane because then you can like do that. and
Legitimately,
then-
like the moniker of, oh my god, it can fly.
Yeah, like it's kind of terrifying. Like, and the other thing is a raid. Like, it can boost up a little bit. It can dodge my shots, and then it kind of just falls down at me and then hits me anyway.
Pick where and how you'll soar to
Yeah, and it has a heavy attack. That's the other thing. It's yeah. And it was a 2-star.
The only thing that it's missing is being able to do its heavy or whatever attacks with the high boost skill, where you can just do it midair.
Oh my goodness! Imagine that. Like you're just kind of flying up to Ruin City. You're just up about to hit where the bridge is, and you just start the swing and just lunge forward. That would be actually insane. That's the next version of it. That's the 700, whatever 700 suit they come out with. That's what it's gonna do.
Hmm.
That's the next 4-star raid's gonna have that skill pretty much. And then the suit that kind of broke the camel's back for me a little bit and sent me into Tiltland pretty hard. At right before the end of the year on the 28th. The Phoenix NT.
The rage machine.
Like when I saw this was coming out, I was like, this has to be a support. This is it, boys. We've finally done it. We got a general unicorn, we got a raid unicorn, well, Banshee, and now we get the support one. Here it is. It's even yellow. It's the obvious choice for the yellow.
Ooh, and then BB's like,
They
is it
got
now?
beams. They got beams, and they got the yeah, dude. This is it. This is gonna be. It's gonna be a support that naturally has a dodge roll or something cool, right? Copium, hopium, and I died a little bit inside. I was, yeah. And so this started my downward spiral, pretty much. I was just like, they hate support players. This is it. They just hate us all. But as far as the suit goes, it's a general. And this was when they finally just actually nerfed the unicorn.
Yep.
And
There needed to be something better, and so that was their thing. I mean, it is kind of funny though. Yeah, they brought out a stronger unicorn so they can nerf the unicorn and pocket the money. So
Now
that people will scramble for the meta.
I don't necessarily think this is better than the unicorn though. Like, I've still, like, when I play the unicorn, I still have, maybe it's just I'm used to it and people still haven't fully, gotten used to all the combos that it can do. Maybe I'm not playing against high enough players to feel any difference. But so far, I just feel fine using the unicorn. If I'm just taking the unicorn in, I can bully one of these pretty well. It doesn't have the shield to do all the blocking. It does have the, shield mode ability. But where it is lacking the shield, until it's got that going on, I feel pretty confident with just running up to it and just bullying it for the most part. Do you think it is actually replaced the unicorn? Or do
I
you
feel
think
like
it's just
it
a little bit
tried. I feel like especially in those early matches, there were teams where there was just a bunch of them and it felt really brutal.
Well, yeah, if they all lock onto you when you get knocked over in front of them, then they're in your rage, especially, and they're like, mine, you are dead. Because those funnel like hit, whatever they're actually called, but when they like smack through you 3 times or whatever, it does a crap ton of damage, especially if you're a raid.
The interesting thing is that the way that its own mode works kind of opened up the door for a lot of older suits that weren't being run quite as much to come back, and some of those have actually been going toe to toe with and making its life a little bit miserable in some cases.
Well,
So-
at the same time, the EXS buff, that definitely brought that suit back in. So,
Base cost for sure. I don't know if, well, I also have to do a lot more 700, but I don't feel like I've seen too many.
I've been seeing it quite a bit, just because it's got the damage control and stuff, and a lot of the damage went up for it. It's definitely, I've seen it top the charts for the in-game screen too. So I think EXS is pretty high in there. I mean, it's now in the DP store if I recall correctly. So I think that's how I just got mine. I think with the most recent update though, which we'll talk about that here in a minute, I think there's a new king of 700 though, personally. But overall, the Phoenix, really good general. Since I already had the unicorn, I didn't really go all out for it. But I personally, I don't think it got replaced by it. I just think there's now a good bit of diversity that you can actually use, which as a support player, that does kind of help out supports a little bit.
It's a very strong pseudo support, but the fact that it also has that other like just hard charge ability on top of the usual melee stuff,
That's pretty big.
like it can be whatever it wants to a certain degree.
I do think too, where it is a little bit wider with those little wings.
The team
now,
heal
like-
makes it like the first actual support suit.
Oh, yeah, right. The team heal thing is pretty crazy. That's actually kind of. I've been curious to know what the, like, if we had like 3 weeks in a row where it was just 700 clan ranked, what kind of meta would kind of come about if these would be used over widely or just one on a team kind of thing.
We haven't had one since, which is interesting.
Be careful out there.
But any other thoughts on the Phoenix?
Sortie.
Still want one. Definitely lacking some of the other 4-star stuff, but it's hard to say. I feel like we really do need that 4-star support. I want to see where that lands and see what happens to it if they actually do go for it. Especially with this running around kind of technically doing a good chunk of its job. Just to see if it's actually salvageable or if we're just gonna have to constantly just be like one-upping the suits and hopefully just balance them all out towards the end of 700.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what we get for 4-star support. I just feel at this point though, the next 4-star has to be a support. Otherwise, I mean, I might take a raid. I might take a raid in between if we're like doing a,
It'll probably
you know,
be
1 month, 1 month to another month. I might take a raid, but we need a support at this point. Like literally the meme that I had where it's what's his name doing, this has to stop. This is cancer. Like straight up. That's just literally round 2 only worse at this point with the 4 stars. I've got every 4-star support, and it's,
What the hell?
I think there's twice as many or 3 times as many raids, and then
Oh,
there's
sorry.
way more generals. Like I kind of want to go through and just figure out a list and just make a meme video of that again,
I wonder why that changed like that. That's weird.
or do like a short with it. But yeah, that charge ability is pretty cool though. I always forget that it has it. I don't see a lot of people use it, so
Mostly because it's not super necessary, but like it's definitely an extra option in there.
Then after that, the new year happened, and we got another Hazel-ish thing, the Hazenflea.
Oh god.
Yeah, I did not know what this thing was. I feel like I might have seen it at some point, but this one I was still already tilted, so I was just kind of like, it's another general rage. I didn't get a 4-star. I'm mad. Where's me some supports?
Where's me supports?
And 600 cost. This thing's fine, you know. At first I was like, it's whatever, you know. But I mean, it's actually kind of got a cool little 2 melee system going on.
Yeah,
I just haven't seen them after that week though.
I feel like it's another one kind of like the what's that other suit? The full armor, what the fuck?
Full armor striker custom.
Yeah, full armor striker custom.
I just saw it, which I still think is actually OP because it literally is a Swiss Army knife of generals. Like,
but again, that's another
everything.
suit that we saw a shit ton of initially, and then it started to taper off a lot.
Yeah, I just wonder if people don't have that suit enough, because every time I see it, it's just like top everything. Like it is the MVP of the whatever team it's on.
It's hard to say, but yeah, I'm similarly. Every once in a while I'll see some Hazen Blaze, and like when it was first out, the reach and stuff on it for the melee, it was really vicious, and it was actually pretty hard to stop in terms of pursuit. But I don't know if people just like started busting on people really hard who were running it or what, but haven't quite seen enough, or at least not as much as initially. So hopefully we actually come around and maybe they don't touch on it, but we see like unit stats. That's one thing that I kind of wish. It'd be a really extensive list, but it would be interesting to see like initial stats for new suits as well in some of those unit adjustment notes, even if they don't get changed, just to see how they're doing.
Yeah, that's. I mean, even if they do change some stuff, like I really want to know the usage on a lot of suits. That's one of the stats I wish they just included always. But it would be cool to see how the suit is performing. I don't know if how that would affect how many people use it, and then the overall like
outside influence, just to see if it messes with things later. But they would still essentially like check other stats to see what it is that it's actually doing per match or whatever. So it might not mess with things too much.
Well, I mean, I think the unicorn thing is a good example to why they actually even touched it again, because they gave it a slap on the wrist because it was slightly overperforming. It was well overpicked, but it was slightly overperforming from where they were initially, or they expected it. I can't remember their actual wording on it, but then after it, they were like, "Oh, I guess it needs a little bit more," because all the stats just got better, and it was just like, yeah, because everybody and his brother is playing it, so then you've got like the average or
yeah, the lower end tapered off because they saw that it got nerfed. So they're like, well, it's ass, and then the diehards were still frequent because it was still a really strong suit.
It is anyway, kind of thing. So then it was just like the stats went up. It's just like there was a suit recently. I think it's in this. It's either last month or this month, where I was like, wow, if somebody was keeping that thing alive, they're gonna be really happy.
Yeah, I forget what suit that was.
Performance.
Well, you know what's funny is that we say that they're gonna be real happy, but like, if one person actually does keep a suit alive like that, imagine if it just never gets adjusted.
Right.
And like eventually it just meets its match in some other suit and it just turns into suffering. But like, damn.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that a little bit with the. Like the Dom Barrage a little bit.
Oh, after the initial adjustment they did?
Yeah, like every time it gets readjusted, I'm like, yes, keep going. But at the same time, it's just like when it was like not getting touched, I'm like, come on, it's gotten power creeped again. Come on, I need just
like,
give me a little bit of buff. Come on,
just
give me a little bit of buff. I just need a little bit. I mean, I can kind of hold my own, but I just need a little bit. Just give me a little bit. Come on.
Just jonesing. Give it a buzz, bro.
Yeah, pretty much. I need buff. Come on, just a little one.
Oh,
But then after that, the supports got another. So the last one,
Amy and
I
Sky,
liked it.
thank you very
just
much
it
for
was
the follow.
cool. It was pretty solid. And then I saw this thing, and I was like, ooh, the picture looks cool. And then I actually saw its weapon list and was like, hmm. And then I saw its skill list and was like, oh. The Advanced Hazel is an amazing support.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Definitely
we
a strong
finally...
contender.
Well, we finally have, not only do we have big shields, and though it doesn't have, wait, does it have shield mastery? Do you still get stunned if the shield explodes?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's a support, it's not gonna have shield mastery.
I was gonna say that
That
might
is a
be the
Reed
only
thing.
problem with it. I'm trying to remember if that actually has a problem with it. Now I know if you're boosting and your big shield explodes, you don't get stunned because of since the other
Oh,
two
the
on your
mounted
head are-
ones or whatever.
Yeah. Since you're boosting and but you have to be boosting and trying to use the maneuver armor when your shield goes pop. Luckily, it has a decent amount of health, so you put like 1 or 2 little shield parts on it to kind of help it out a little bit.
And a fair amount of movement on it too, so you can, if anything,
Yeah,
try to
and
put
then-
some boost on it.
Yeah, then a little boost, and you can move around. Its damage is pretty solid. That's the other thing, is the damage is actually kind of insane on it. Like, this is, even though it's a 2-star and it's a support, we didn't really pay tax this time. The only tax is if you're standing still and your shield pops, I guess. And other than that, it's got good damage, really solid, just all around, with some melee added in there. It's pretty good. The missiles on it have really good stun buildup. They're the same ones from the raid version, essentially, of this. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints. Like, this is definitely going to be a really good 550 staple support.
Yeah, I've actually been enjoying my runs with it. Of course, this game's still been shitting fucking supports in me, so that was one of the ones. Even though I didn't get a lot of the other ones from some of the more recent draws, that's one that we got. Like, I was hoping I could run it in the match we're doing right now, but we already had one. Like, it's very common. In fact, our ace right now is our support. Oh lord.
But the Advanced Hazel, no complaints here. It's a great suit. If you end up getting it, definitely try it. Like, good ways to stop raids too is the other thing with that shield. It actually has a pretty sizable amount of build-up stun between the missiles and the shield, so pretty good. And then of course the Hazel Beam Rifle. If you full charge that, we've already seen that on one support, and yeah, that chunks. Then we had the Silver Haze, which was kind of interesting. I haven't really seen it much this week. Of course, the week it was out, definitely saw it a lot. I don't know, it just feels like that there's a pretty tight window to get your hits. Can that spear hit twice when it does its downswing?
I think the cooldown's a little too tight for that.
No, I mean like the actual swing itself. I wanted to ask because I don't have it, and I felt like I got hit by it twice, but I could have just got hit by something else from across the map or whatever. It was a little weird, but
I don't think any of its swings do multi-hits with the spear itself, so. That being said, it does have a lot of travel range.
You can get another downswing off if it does have the same timing as the Gazelle, because I did try the Gazelle and I was able to get three melees in, but it's a very tight window. I did it once.
also seems that, like, even with that skill where you have more damage when they fall down, like the spear doesn't really seem to do much after the initial knockdown in terms of swings.
Yeah.
It's definitely just for like the big throw downswing, or maybe trying to get it when they're already down from like another melee.
But yeah, with that window that I was talking about for the Gazelle, I probably tried it about 30 times and got it once. So it's a very tight timing. But overall, I mean, it seems like a pretty solid raid. Nothing too crazy, but 450 cost. Again, that's where I've been using the Yogu Stutzer, so I've been kind of bullying it just a little bit. Oh, how's its Vulcans? And it has the Alex's Gatling, doesn't it?
Yeah, Vulcans are alright. It's definitely more so about the Gatling. Pretty good, just support blast down, and it stuns pretty quick. In general, if you're already a fan of like the traditional strikers or do a lot of what is it, semi-striker and stuff, then this is just adding like even more reach and another really mean like downswing or like knockdown weapon, so you'll probably enjoy it. I don't see it a lot anymore, and at the cost range that it's at, especially when you're in bugga heavy maps, if you're not connecting with the knockdown, then it tends to get overwhelmed by some of the other like no fun gun wielding shit, or just general like heavy swing wielding raids as well. So it kind of depends. If you can get your spacing right and just like shut down a lot of that, then that's what it's actually good at. It's a very good shutdown suit for keeping other people from doing their bullshit. In fact, if anything, it'd be probably a little too busted if it also had a shotgun, but I wouldn't mind that. But the Gatling definitely makes up for that. Like if you hit them with something and then just move into that, you can break MA and all that stuff pretty quickly. So
yeah, they buffed the, if I recall correctly, they buffed the stagger value on the, if it is literally the Alex's, they buffed that. So I know I was using it to actually stop raids pretty well. So as far as the stuff we've missed, anything else specifically from up until now that you can think to talk about or want to bring up?
Those are the bigger ones. I'm trying to think if there was, I mean, outside of maybe some of the other unit adjustments, I guess, but like, I think for suits, that was about it.
Because we'll cover the last month's unit adjustments here in a bit, but as far as November, pretty sure we covered October's, so. And then I do want to ask a question, but since we're gonna do some new suit speculation later, it's kind of more, I guess, up until now. What do you think of the suits that they've come out with from the different like series and stuff? Like it's been kind of everywhere, other than the ones that were a little more obvious with narrative and the Phoenix.
I think right now they don't really have a choice. Narrative is pretty much like finished. That was kind of their big thing for the holiday, was just to kind of pump that out. The big thing for me is what suit are they gonna make a big deal out of for a 4-star in general, even if it's not like a support or something. Like what options are they gonna have, unless they actually are gonna finally bite the bullet and move on to like the next bigger era, which would be like the F91 stuff and all that.
I was gonna say it's probably F91 at anniversary at this point. This is the only thing I can think of, which I'm kind of like, or actually, you know, another thing that people were bringing up was we do have some pretty big suits like Kshatriya. It could be possible to see, you know, some Hathaway's Flash kind of stuff coming in now at this point.
That's true too. Those would be some Hawkins suits. So
yeah,
with that, I guess with that in mind, Hathaway would be a pretty easy one to do before we move further. It's just like, how long are they gonna stall? Or are they gonna throw it out for like a different event outside of maybe like Golden Week or whatever?
Yeah, my guess is Golden Week. Gonna be the only thing that when we see the next 4-star, I think, unless we get one at somewhere here in February.
Like they just like shoot it out. I mean, Lord knows.
Yeah, like I mean, they could do like one in February and then do one at Golden Week. So like that's why I'm thinking, you know, we might get a raid, or because I'm hoping the one they make a big deal about and it's really big and awesome is gonna be the support one.
Yeah,
obviously,
totally.
a little bias there for me there on that one, but you know,
it's on brand at this point, right?
But like, I could just see them doing like a raid. I don't know. Maybe they do the 2 suits. Those are going to be some big suits though. Like I could see. I mean, at Kshatriya's size, if they just they might not be to scale, which there's a lot of suits we don't have to scale, right? So if they're not to scale, but they just make them Kshatriya's size, I think that'll work. Like I think that'll be fine. But I guess when we
Discord.
if we want to just go ahead and get the Rezel talk, I
took
can go ahead and move the thing and
that's our Discord link, but that's not where the call is.
One thing that I
But
like
that is our
about the
community link
Kshatriya,
for
and
the
I said about the
Discord, if you
Kshatriya,
wanna hang
I
out
really
there.
like about the Rezel, and it's the fact that we're getting some more defensive layers on supports, and their skill cap defensive layers. Last week we talked about the Hildoffer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much of a problem it was. I think they could kind of almost unnerf it, at this point. And, like one of the reasons being is some of its big plays that it can make is because of the skill cap. Well, with the Rezel, honestly, this suit, I really like this support. It looks like a lot of fun to play. Now, do I think it's way better than anything we've got at 650 support? Not really, but it does have some defensive layers that you can make use of that even the Delta kind of has it, but it's just because it has the coating. So this thing has, I believe, damage control 1. It has, and the big things here, fall prevention system, and it has a dodge roll while flying.
Yeah. And that was the other big question, like, is it actually going to have one or not?
Yeah, so it has a dodge roll while flying and fall prevention system. Now, while you're on the ground, you don't really have anything extra other than damage control, but that's par for the course for supports. This thing's pretty big. We've had that in the past. Sure, I'll take that.
I forget if it has stabilization, but they do let you charge those shoulders on the fly.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no stabilization device, but it, you have some good stuns, you have some good build up, you have some big damage, and the flying mode I think is where the more of the gimmick here is. But at the same time, being able to, if you're just flying around and you get shot out of the sky, it really sucks if you're playing on like the, well, now is the C1. I mean, kind of to look ahead here a little bit, but I'm pretty sure they added it to the C1 while it's flying. It has a dodge roll, but it doesn't have fall prevention. That's what it was. So the C1 now you can dodge roll with it. I just think if supports had the fall prevention kind of thing in there too, I think that would be kind of cool, because that way not only do you do the dodge roll to avoid getting just knocked out of the sky in general, but then you got to fall. So if you don't do it in the right spot or at the right angle, you're falling for days, and then someone's probably then you're so much easier to shoot out of the sky either way, right? Because it just burns up your boost bar and you can't do anything while falling. So to have the fall prevention added onto that for just supports being able to dodge roll while they're flying, I think that would be really cool for just pretty much it. Even if there's no dodge roll, adding the fall prevention to supports. The one thing that kind of does for the ground version of the Rezel is you can do jump shot stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got damage control 1, you can jump, and you can jump and shoot and then not get stunned. So that is one of the other things you can do with this suit, which is kind of cool. And then it does have a decent bit of boost, so you can jump, shoot, and then transform if you want to, right? And fly out. So you actually got a lot of stun prevention, and this translates into fighting raids too, right? They're coming up to you, you just jump. They don't get their easy stun. So I do like that bit of counterplay. This kind of goes back to back in the day where they gave like the Gun Cannon 2 the hippity hop thing, where you could just jump twice. But yeah, I think these kind of skill layered defense layers I think is pretty nice, and I'd like to see more of them. That way they can just add these to a lot of these, and I don't think it hurts too much.
Yeah, at least you would have some options, even if they're not something that you can like do all the time. Especially because like there's still other suits, like the Delta Plus that are kind of mosquito-y, so like they're not really closing in too much more so than they are just slapping the shit out of you at range and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's definitely nice to just have more options. I also feel like they should start picking some of these more support specific skills that they've been introducing and make them a bit more like staple, I guess, or just more common across the board for new support releases.
Yeah, stabilization would be just nice to have across the board as just all supports.
Essentially, like anything that actually has like a bigger cannon or something that they don't want to prop for themselves.
Right. Trying to think, like, well, again, you know, Kshatriya not having shock dampener at this point, I wish it just had shock dampener. Kind of weird that it doesn't. Even on something like the Gamemalk, when you get low enough health, maybe they'll do this buff where it's at 50% they've been doing recently, and then that'll be a huge buff to it. But like when you have your shock dampener, just relying on the stabilization device on it, for instance, its animation is way too long to get into position, or it's just lag, or it's both. And it just, once you get stunned once, even though you feel like you're, haha, I crouched, like that needs to activate right when you hit it, I think, rather than waiting till you're actually in the crouch position and you're like, okay, I'm here, let's now fire, right? Like I think it needs to be a little more, at least kind of halfway, if not instant, because it takes way too long for that to kick in so that you just don't get stunned. Even with something that can really utilize it with its damage control too, the Palace Athene, right? But I think anything they can do to kind of help more of these, I don't know, this is kind of my copium a little bit for supports gaining, you know, defensive skills, is that they put in the more skill cappy skills, right? So kind of back in the day with the GPO2 getting the shield, like you just had to turn, and if you turned and blocked it, it's a bit of a skill cap to defend yourself with that shield, even though it was a huge shield, but it still gave you, you know, a huge layer of defense. Kshatriya kind of does that, except for the fact that everything that they've introduced has some other way to just stun it, regardless of them hitting the binder or not. So that was pretty ripped pretty quick. Mainly Unicorn. Or Sinanju boost fire. Which, yeah, we'll talk about that here later.
Oh god.
But yeah, as far as the Rizel though, really good damage, pretty good defense, pretty cool tricks. I've seen some people doing the jump shoot stuff. I've seen some people doing the transforming and doing very well with just seeing somebody about to fire, so they just dodge roll and go into a fall and shoot somebody on the way down, which is pretty nice.
Very technical. It does help that most of its kit is literally just a general kit. Like you can, it's not recommended, but like for the most part, if you're used to your usual Rizel play, you can just do that and do really well in that suit.
Or even the Dagdoll, because it has the same kind of triple downswing kind of thing you can do too. So yeah, overall really good suit. Definitely not bad. I don't think it's the best support we've got, but it's still up there. Definitely probably top 3. Definitely something really good. Maybe if there's some other tricks you can do with it, like that, and there's somebody that gets pretty high skill cap, maybe it is pushing craziness, but I'm kind of hoping not so much. Just because I really want some more of these like defensive layers to come to other supports. Like again, dodge rolls on flying supports, and then the fall prevention on flying supports would be awesome. The Methus Kai, right? Is that the support one? Like that would be cool to see fall prevention on it. Maybe not even the dodge roll, just the fall prevention, so you can just transform and fall and not have to worry about getting just instant knocked down because you're such a huge suit flying anyway, so you see somebody shoot at you, so you transform to dodge that stun and get knocked out of the sky. And
it's funny because it's a lesson that they learned early on with the transforming tanks, and then they just didn't let the flyers really do it that often. Like for a long time it was the opposite. You would fold up and then immediately get smacked out of your transformation.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, flying is very powerful, so I get it, but I think we need, as supports, we need some kind of help with that. Otherwise, it's just a runaway thing. I mean, that's why one reason why the Delta is so good is because it can, with its coating, it can just run. And unless you're doing some kind of ballistic or build-up stun, it's like, lol, see ya. I got my coating on. You
Not
can't
to
do
mention,
anything.
like, if you want to talk about suits, flyers being powerful, literally, like, Delta Kais at 650 and legit just become fucking air sharks. They just nudge around people, shoot the fuck out of them. Every couple seconds, especially with an aggressive team, you're probably gonna get bumped by someone who's transformed, or at least stunned and then bumped.
Yeah, and that suit is crazy, and it's pretty meh on the ground, but when that thing transforms, that suit in transform mode is actually insane.
It's
Probably the best
disgusting.
flying suit we got.
Which you would hope, right? It's like one of the bigger hooks for it, but definitely they did well with that.
But yeah, there's kind of my support rant. Please give supports more skills, because you know, kind of like the advanced Hazel a little bit, getting maneuver armor, though it's for its shields, and shields are a little bit more breakable than the other ones. So fair enough, I guess. Right? That's kind of the support tax there with that too, I guess, a little bit. But it is really nice seeing stuff like maneuver armor on a support. So I don't know if we'll see that again unless there's another Hazel support.
I also like. I feel like there has to come a time where like they start letting go of some of the older conventions just because they don't work across the board for a lot of these cost ranges. Especially because a lot of the meta in the way that like stun accumulation and stun loops happen is because they're making the generals and raids so vicious to begin with. They're literally making a lot of that stuff just for them to counteract each other, and supports are just sitting in the background like, guys, what am I supposed to do? Just hit them really hard and hope they don't have some gimmick that stops you from doing so, but they all do. Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's pretty much Kshatriya for like a week was like, haha. Oh, okay, well, they all have gimmicks now that just prevent me from doing what I want. Okay. Guess I'll die now.
That being said, again, because of the mode that the Fenix brings, they have been coming out more. There's every once in a while you'll still see some more like bell peppers or other supports get busted out. But it's funny because as much as they've been bringing out more funnel heavy suits again, so many people are used to the more conventional, just like lower but like level boosted suits, because that's one thing that the Unicorn did when it first came out, because that whole funnel heavy like crazy gimmick like heavy concept was really, I wouldn't say it was plaguing 650, but it was really prominent. And I feel like now that there's like a separation between them and 700, it's only kind of ramped up a little bit more. But Unicorn was like, nah, fuck all that, we're going old school. And we're just bringing back the usual melee schmixery along with your occasional like big like range damage,
Right.
but just like in a different form, you know, because like Sinanju, Stein, and all these other dudes are just like really aggressive. Literally like yeeting their fuel rods at people for like heavy staggers and all this other crazy shit. Like when you think about how much other suits have to do, it almost feels nuts that the Unicorn and the Fenix still do as well as they do just because of what they had to deal with and the kind of pilots that tend to use those other suits. Especially in like higher rating.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know, speaking of higher rating, just kind of what the Rezel's doing. And then we did talk about this last week a little bit too, but like I feel like when a support gets too strong though, there is, you know, more than half of the team that can complain about the support.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like there's more general mains out there anyway, because there's just more general suits, that when supports do get a little too strong, you know, there's a little more outcry.
Well, the funny thing is that we were talking about this last time, but the idea that like a lot of people when they first start out, they don't do a lot of melee and they don't really do a lot of like generals and stuff if they can help it. A lot of them get beat up when they try, and then they're like, oh well, supports are nice. I can do all the cool sniper stuff and just big damage and still contribute at range, so I'll do that. And then they immediately have to like are forced to like not grow out of it, but just like expand a little bit and do other stuff because they're just getting punished so much by people who have like pretty much dedicated their lives to making supports miserable, so that they're just like not necessarily not part of the meta, but just harder to maintain.
Well, I mean, there's something, especially
like even in the Gun
raid.
Evo, even in the Gun Evo stream, people were talking about some of the similarities between like the rating changes and stuff, and like, oh, I wish they had this like in GBO2, and like people were like, what are you talking about? GBO2 is a fighting game. Like unironic, no kappa at the end of that, just called it that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I've always said it's kind of like a little pseudo fighting with how the combos work for like raids and generals, especially now, right, where you get some of these big combos. Like you're actually
like everything about this right now is just it's legitimately when we talk about combo meta, like that's one of the bigger things for this is just learning those.
Yeah. And that's why I always said, like when I would describe to friends, when you're learning the combos, it's a pseudo fighting game kind of thing. It's not really that complicated, but it's still kind of like if you were playing one, sort of. And that's pretty much was my description for just like most of suits. Or you can play support, where you just shoot things. That's what I like.
Just whip out gun because you have it.
And then you combo your guns.
Yep, range combo. Which is essentially just like spacing.
Pretty much. But yeah, anything else with the Rezil?
No, I don't think it's going to be going anywhere for a while. It seems like a really solid support. We'll probably, I wonder, like, once people maybe get a little bit tired of it or start to really, like, buckle down against them, if it actually affects the stats enough for them to do, like, an early adjustment. But, like, literally it's just a support Rizal that has a nicer extra cannon that does some cool shit. So, I think it was literally just building off another suit that was already pretty good at its range, so it'll be fine.
And then we'll talk about the Mark V and the buffs and nerfs, but the level 2 banner is out for that. There's finally a level 2 Mark V, which is kind of funny.
It's so funny that they like they just didn't know what to do with that suit, so they were just hesitant to really like bring it up anymore. They did like how many readjustments did they do before we actually got the whole shield thing?
Definitely one, maybe two.
I want to say at least
three?
2.
I'd say I know one for sure. Most likely 2.
So
I want to remember 2 for sure.
Not as bad as some of the other suits in that list, but still pretty notable for the fact that like a lot of those adjustments just didn't help it enough.
Pretty much, it was. I mean, like, did it start with shield mastery or did it gain that later?
I think it. I wanna say I want to just because I'm being optimistic that it started with it, but I don't think so. I think it might have actually gotten it later. I don't know if anyone in chat remembers if it has shield mastery out of the gate, or maybe that was around the time that was like introduced and like other suits started to get it after a while.
Something like that. I kind of want to say it started, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't think it did. Because this thing definitely, I mean, it was good when it first came out, right? It's one of those things, like, it got power crept pretty quick.
If by pretty quick you mean like the week of, then yes.
Yeah. It was, well, I mean, I still remember people, like, being like, dude, the Mark V is so good, look at these, you know, and people were posting some good numbers. Like, topping charts, crazy damage numbers, stuff like that, so... It had a place, but then, like, eventually it was just power crept to the point that those people that were like, this is my suit, were like, yeah,
Maybe
I'm playing
the
insert anything else at that cost. That's a raid.
I think that's also around the time where raids were getting a lot more crazy. So, like, there are just so many examples of like other shit that was just infinitely better. It didn't take long at the very least.
But yeah, we'll talk about the buff here in a second. It honestly didn't get much more than what it... Well, actually, right here is the stuff that they added to suits, so we can just go over this. Let's see here. So, they changed some Vulcan stuff, which all these are in the actual kind of patch notes, so I guess we'll just mention them here. But and then we'll talk about it when we get to the more closer stats. But they changed the Vulcan on the GPO-1s, both the FP and the normal one. I love that suit now. The O1 is one of my favorite suits to play.
The O1 is super funny now. Because, like, even at 650, when they were doing the initial, like, banner drop, people were still running it. And all these other suits, I've been saying this all week, but, like, all these other suits are so much bigger that are more common at those costs. So it's just running up into their blind spots after the initial stun or like, accumulation while they're running at them with the Vulcans. And it's just like slashing their legs apart. Just like, get out of here, go home.
I mean, right now, honestly, it's kind of like my tanky Mark II, how I used to play it, only the Vulcan's actually stun at this point. Like, it's actually kind of cracked. I took in the 600 cost into a 650 match. And can't remember if I actually hit top, like, numbers on the charts. But either way, no, that's right. There's somebody had, like, 120k, and I want to say I had, like, 110k damage from a 600 in a 650 game. Like, I didn't even have the at cost GPO1, and I was still popping off. So I'm like,
it's really silly.
I love this suit now.
I think it was at 600, maybe it was at 600 or 650, but like, I definitely had a raid game in that suit where it felt like I was getting slapped around really bad. And then at the end of it, I was like, oh, I bite the board. Oh shit, I'm also first. Okay, never mind.
Oh, no.
Like that's my general experience when I do really well with raids. It's like, oh, this is suffering. I hope I didn't do too bad. And it's like, oh, actually that was really good. Okay.
Then they changed the club on the Zekuines.
Thank God.
Well, they made it good for the Type 3, but the Type 2 sucks. Still.
Yeah.
That's not damage is not the way to fix that thing. It's
they really should have just gave it the one for the car.
Usability.
It should have just been the one for the car. The extra ready up time and everything. Like, come on now.
I mean, the Type 3 is literally just the bazooka, so you just got two bazookas now, essentially, just one shorter range. And then the Mark V, the main thing, which is the optimized shield booster, right here they just kind of fast movement speed increased, reduced thruster consumption at start and during high speed movement. Additional mid-air actions are available. Consume thruster to move fast. Jump available, and also reduce thruster consumption during these moves. So pretty much you can boost for days in the Mark V. Like, I was like, oh man, I'm boosting in, like, I just, the initial boost race to the middle of impact site, and then my thruster came back, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going in, and I'm like, yeah, this was a mistake, I'm probably out of boost already, and I looked and I'm not even halfway, and I'm like,
it's like, oh my,
I'm getting out of here, no big deal.
What level of injector does it have? Because I'm assuming if you redirected yourself, you might be like, oh no.
I think it has 2.
Okay, that's not too bad then. Also with the shield, right? So it has that other shield skill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. With the shield now, you can boost for days and days and days. Like, I was actually doing boosting around like a crazy person, just force injectoring everywhere. So it's really good now. Oh, here's a big change that came about. The actual time to redeploy.
Yep. Shortens the respawn times.
Feel it. It feels good.
So like on one side, it definitely feels good. The other, it also means you have a lot less it feels a little bit like you have less of a reward for when you actually do a team wipe. You have a lot less time to rest, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You can't really do the whole let's get a big repair. Which
the funny thing is that they should up the repair rate when you're at base to kind of counteract that.
Yeah, I can see that because really repairs. I mean, especially with suits at the current state, it's kind of a like I've always said it's a noob trap, but now
the health
it's even worse.
pools, yeah. Well, like I would, especially on smaller like bunga maps, like we're talking like Arctic and stuff. You're literally like a spit away from going over there, so you might as well just go over there and hit it while also just repairing it yourself. So, but yeah, bigger maps it's always kind of a noob trap. You probably shouldn't go all that way in like a respawn timer's length of time away just to go and sit there even longer. You know, depending on where you're going, you pretty much should just try to hide somewhere and do it on the spot.
And this is also kind of a slight nerf to the unicorn because a lot of times people would want to, you know, go repair as much as possible, then pop awaken mode. You get even more health that in your super tanky mode. Well, with only 16 seconds, now you got a lot less time to go get that extra health. So that's
yeah, especially
sort of an
since
indirect unicorn nerf.
stuff of that cost range closes in really easily. So
Yeah.
between their speed and the distance that they can reach at, you know, like you won't really have that much time even on larger maps.
Then we got the Ewak Jigen, the what's the other stuff here for this?
The Ewak Jigen is really gross right now.
And the Gara Zulu for the premium suits. Then Ticket Shop got the White Rider and the Game Hawk level 2. Pretty good Ticket Shop stuff for supports. White Rider's finally in a really good spot. I really like it.
I noticed because people, oh god, keep trying to run it more and someone DC'd already.
Oh.
On the enemy though. Oh dear.
EXS level 2 added, so if you do have high enough rank for that, then there you go. You can try the 700 that way, for just DP. Zaku 3 Kai level 1 is added to the DP store, so you can go get your Bonsai on. Also, there's a buff to it, spoilers. So it feels even tankier. Like, I already love that suit. That's just one of those things, like, I didn't think it needed a buff, but cool, I'm tankier now. Let's go.
I want them to just open up the radius on the Bonsai. I forget to even touch that ever.
Please do that.
I needs it.
Because you gotta be pretty much in the range that you would get, like, heavy stunned if you didn't have, like, the anti-blast. Then there's some fixes. They're just kind of there. Nothing too crazy that I noticed or anybody really pointed out, so... Oh, wait. Unintended stagger that could occur when performing certain operations like guarding against a shooting attack with stagger, with active guard. Huh. Okay.
Interesting. I don't know if I've seen any clips of that either.
And pilots could get stuck within the trench map.
Oh. Oh.
Interesting.
Like some sort of specific spot, I'm assuming? So just like let
Probably
them
where
clip through.
one of those cracks that you can kind of like boost up. I bet you could get your pilot stuck in one of those cracks somehow and just couldn't get out of it. I bet that's where it's at.
Sucks.
Because they had the similar thing with that kind of cracked material on some of the space stuff. If you try to hide in the debris as a pilot, you would just get stuck. That's kind of an old one. I'm guessing that's what it is, because that's what that reminds me of, those little cracks. And then the clan match is coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Monday morning.
Ooh. Good luck to anybody going for that one.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be one that we do.
I mean, that's something that we didn't talk about is the clan suits. So the previous 2 clan suits, I guess the desert, is it another desert Zaku of some variety? It looked really cool. I actually got it from the like November recent suits that have come out since whatever thing, because they did that giveaway thing again.
Desert Zaku is pretty cool. It's got like it's not a scooty suit, but it's got the big scoop, as well as a fair amount of like mid-range stuff going on.
This most recent suit though, it's got the cold blade and the halberd, right?
Yeah. Which is pretty interesting because it's another 300 like raid. Achilles Zaku from Code Fairy.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like the halberd thing. That's kind of hype. Have you seen anything on it? Like anybody like just straight popping off with it, or
Not yet. I've not really seen it in the wild.
Yeah, neither have I.
And that being said, I don't know if anyone knows for sure, but this is either the first or second top 40. We're still in top 40 range, I'm pretty sure, so we'll see what happens after that.
This is 137, so yeah, top 4 or top 10 actually.
Oh, this is the last top 10. Shit.
Next one will be the first top 40. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And you can get the red background, the simple red, which makes your clan background 3 times faster. But yeah, so buffs and nerfs. Let's go ahead and hit that. Then we'll. So, but this, if there's anything that's kind of staying out for the previous one, go ahead and feel free to interrupt me. But I think for the ones I'll be stopping on are kind of the big ones. And then kind of the same for this month's a little bit. As far as the stagger accumulation, unless it's definitely a big deal like the GPO1, probably gonna not worry about it too much unless it's something that can change the suit. So the EXS, I already kind of mentioned this, like they did a lot of changes to it, and level 2 got a ton of stuff. That's why I've been seeing it a lot personally in 700 whenever that's up. So yeah, it's really good now, and the numbers are actually crazy. It's actually the damage. Here we go. The average damage is 12,000 above average at 700 cost.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, 76k and 88k. Everything's above average by a pretty significant margin. Rival win rate went from 35% to 52%.
Shit.
Yeah. 50% and from 47% average for win rate. So it's EXS is kind of cracked. Also, its thing activates at half health now, so you get double dog roll at half health. Yeah, big speed, level 2 damage on everything pretty much went up. A lot of its flying stuff damage went up. Oh yeah, that's the ×4 cannons only have a 95% heat rate when you transform now, so you don't have to. So you literally could just like transform, shoot, and then that I would kind of be curious to know the stagger value on, but I'm guessing it's not enough to just stun a raid. But there's probably a chance that you could hit a raid with that while flying and then hit them with something else. And yeah, that thing's damage is actually insane while flying too, since it has high damage control and everything. And oh yeah, its damage control went to 3 at level 2, by the way. Instead of just damage control 1, it now has damage control 3 at level 2. So it is essentially the Masala while flying, and has crazy cracked range damage. So yeah, it's actually kind of gross. I can highly recommend trying it at 700, which I'm glad I finally got it from the DP store. And then we kind of already talked about the unicorn, but it actually got hit, and that, you know, looking at the stats now, it went from a 59% after the first nerf to a 24.6% use rate, and it's still got better win rate and rival win rate than the EXS.
Damn.
So it's still way above average. Now the damage though is literally just above average, which is kind of interesting. Because it did take a pretty big hit to its ranged attack boost early on, and I think really that's just because a lot of people would use its Vulcans, its Beam Magnum, and the Shrapnel Bazooka. And I'm definitely raising my hand there without even using a lot of its melee combos to just throw out crazy amounts of damage. Like I hit 100k literally just using the Beam Magnum like the entire game in Vulcans. And maybe meleeing here and there. Especially after I pop NTD, of course, but mostly still just Beam Magnum and Vulcans. Like that thing's damage was insane. So fair enough. It needed the hit. Gaza D got an interesting buff. That's something to look at and try again.
That was very surprising, actually.
Yeah. It wasn't that far below, and now it's pretty well above. average it for damage anyway. So that was pretty nice. Gelgoog Haimo is back again, sort of, which is kind of funny.
There was actually a match that I had where there was like several of them, like at least 2 if not 3. So
450 or
yeah.
Yeah, at 450 it's pretty good now. Looking at the stats, it's looking good. Rizel got a buff. I just kind of wonder if that's one of those things that they were planning for the Rizel support. So
Just to make sure it was up to par.
yeah, and also I think it still needed a buff anyway. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, hey. So it's looking pretty good, pretty much right at average. Rage, Shuzram Gallus got hit pretty hard, honestly. It was more than a slap on the wrist that I was expecting. But I mean, it's still insane. Everything's still above average. Like, yeah, they'd have to hit it a little bit more to actually bring it pretty far down. That suit's really cracked. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like the bigger thing about how it is now is that it can't really like stalk around as much as it used to, just because sometimes the sneeze gun just won't sneeze right. But the range on the cables are still gross. Being able to get the jump on people in that suit's still pretty easy as long as you can get the instant knockdown. And the damage is still there, so.
Then we got the high boost GM. They got a buff. Again, I forgot that
not
thing
too
even
surprising.
But, yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah. Well, when we talked about the banner earlier, I forgot that thing existed until, you know, we got a level 2 and it got the buffs. Then I was really surprised at this next one, the Haimo Gelgoog GK Cribgoog.
The crib.
I mean, its damage went up, but its damage didn't seem to be the problem, really. I mean, maybe level 2, which they did do a level 2 damage, definitely fixed it, but I didn't think it was bad. Like, I didn't see anything.
The damage in the reach on its heavy was already gross. Some of the midline stuff that it could do is mostly just for stun buildup. I don't think that's really changed regardless, but like the melee cycling on that was still really strong, even if you weren't doing heavies. So that was a little bit surprising.
And the heavy attack damage at level 2 got increased as well, so it's definitely from the stats doing above average now. So then we got the support nerf, and I was really curious to see what this was going to be, and it was pretty heavy for the survivability. It did get at level 2 some damage nerf, 3%, not much, and the rapid beam rifle stagger value going down after playing the nerfed version on the PC. Yeah, definitely gonna miss the stagger buildup. But I mean after playing it on the PC, I'm like, okay, now that I get to play this suit, holy crap. So yeah, I mean that's bringing survivability down. I mean it's still above average. Again, they didn't really hit it where it does most of its work as a support. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of times you're just like, hey, I just shoot people, do the damage, and then surviving's bonus, so, you know.
Oh my god.
Supports are already used to not surviving, so, you know, it's the damage is the main thing here, and it's still just doing, like, it actually went up, the damage did. Probably because it was one of those things, like the people who abandoned ship type thing, what we were talking about.
Yeah,
but I mean, they did
were just
overall.
fudging it fixed the average, just by having those people not there anymore.
So, definitely feels a bit more balanced as a support playing against it, though. Like, it was a pain just to play against your own type at that cost. And you mentioned it, the Zaku 4 gained a giant shopping list of buffs, bringing it from complete garbage trash, like 35% rival win rate when the average is 46.
Oh, damn.
3.2 suits lost and 2.7 is the average. And it had 57,000 damage and average was 70,000. So yeah, this thing was pretty garbage when it first came out. And I mean, they literally buffed everything on it.
It's definitely quite the monster, but like you were saying before too, like it definitely wasn't one that a lot of people spun for. So even though I saw it a little bit when people were trying it out, Since then, it's definitely tapered off again. But I don't know. Hopefully, if
I
they,
think people don't have it.
yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully that actually changes. I still want one. I didn't get one.
Yeah. We're in the ticket shop early. Let's go.
That'd be nice.
Right. But yeah, that was last month's. So there we go. That's kind of the catch up for that. And now we get one that makes sense, and then the most questionable buff, I think, that has a new king of 700. So the first one is the new Gundam. So its main beam rifle got a buff, range by 50, and focus time by 0.5 seconds reduced. So that makes that a little bit better, more consistent for the just straight up stun. Heat rate on the shield beam cannon, 85% instead of 90%, and another 50 range, kind of doubling down on this thing having more range. And then the reload was shortened on the missiles to 10 seconds, which is kind of nice. I didn't think that new Gundam was following that far behind. When you still see them, they still do pretty well. They're pretty consistent. But, I mean, compared to the Unicorn and how crazy it was, it definitely needed something.
I was gonna say, it's in a cost where everything is just constantly escalating still, so...
Yeah. So they barely touched on it here, and the stats, though, are pretty much around average. It's just when things that, you know, are performing well above average, it's kind of rough. So...
well, the interesting thing is that...
I think it... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Well, the interesting thing about the way that they did the adjustments, they gave it a lot more range in some of its stuff, and the general suggestion has constantly been that you might as well just use its movement along with the way that it can midline to Q dinger damage. You just don't hunt for as much melee as you used to. So they're like, oh, if we're gonna play it that way, then we'll just make it easier to do that way. So it's literally just like the all range attack sort of just being emphasized more.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I was going to bring up, because there's too much bunga to deal with from everything else. I was surprised, again, not to see the Suzabi on here, though.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Suzabi. Like, there's several instances where it should have been right next to the new in terms of getting adjustments and stuff, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, I really want to know what stats.
That's one where it's got to be some kind of okay, or maybe it's just like so underutilized that they're just not bothering because they don't know what to do with it now.
But then the next one, though, I think is the new king of 700, the Sinanju. Like, this buff is actually just kind of insane. Like, it was already fine. If you look at the stats, like, as far as suit lost, win rate and stuff, yes, it is kind of close to where the Unicorn was, but its damage was right there on par with average. Like, it was the average general, but with shield health going up by 1,100 and 2,000 health, and then its psycho frame to just go ham at 50%. Like, I don't know, I think this is, with all of its skills and bells and whistles, like, this is the new just king of generals, I think. Because it was already the, you know, you stun anything, right? You pop its special shooting maneuver mode or whatever it's called, and you boosted somebody and you just stunned them, and then you go into your melee combo faster than anything else. Like, it's, you have you have the, you know, Hyakushiki downswing to just definitely get that downswing, that first one in. You got the big hits and triple downswing after that for your other two melee combos. It's just disgusting. Like, and then, you know, it's got enough ranged weapons to boot to just do consistent damage. I think it's definitely, at this point, I already thought it was a little underrated by people, but I think this is, personally, I'm curious to see next month what stats this goes with, because I feel like we're going to see close to unicorn levels of, like, win rate and stuff. What are your thoughts on the Sinanju?
I wish I had one. Sinanju and Rabawu at this point, I wouldn't say they go super hand in hand, but they definitely feel like they had the same vibe when they were initially like becoming more prominent in their cost range. Anytime you still see either of those, even with Delta Kais or Unicorns or like Phoenixes running around in their cost ranges, they still make people pretty wary. So I think they still were always effective. Just, I really do want to see what those stats are going to look like. And maybe if there's another shot for us to get them a bit more commonly, since a lot of those suits are either like pretty rare or just flat out 4 stars. So like even in ours, well, he didn't wipe the board, but we did have Sinanji hanging out in ours for our last trenches map. That being said, a unicorn just wiped the board for our group, so it is a little bit interesting to see how that output hasn't really changed too much. Like, it was 120k. Obviously, if it was like pre-nerf, it probably would have been a little bit higher, but still.
And I guess too, when I say king of generals, I would say I move it to first place, but the margin between it, the Phoenix, and the Unicorn are pretty slim.
Yeah, I think for people who are definitely used to doing a lot of like weapon cycling and general aggression, like just having another essentially like Blu-ray that even has like a shooting mode that makes it easier to like advance on people was just really dangerous, I guess is the best way to put it. So I can only imagine that, you know, maybe as 700 starts to even out, maybe with some other releases and whatnot, or maybe somehow if its percentage somehow isn't enough right now and it gets adjusted again, like it'll be fine. More than fine, to be honest. So
and then we talked about the club, but Zeku Ain's weapon change shortened, hallelujah. 8-second reload, really awesome weapon now. It's pretty much just a bazooka with an 8-second cooldown fire in between. It's actually kind of crazy. Zeku Ain's Type 3, I tested it out, but I played it off stream already, and yeah, it feels really good. I definitely am going to be playing this suit a whole lot more because it's pretty much got a second bazooka that you can just swap to now. Like, the club is awesome. Never thought I'd say that.
right.
And then level 4, of course, it's got a level 4 for this suit. Was kind of surprised that they just advanced the levels of these suits so much, but they did. And the shoulder buffer got buffed, a few things like that. They tried to help it a little bit. Level 3 and 4 gaining some range damage, melee damage, and thrusters, which is kind of nice. So trying to bring their damage up at those costs. Personally, I'm just been kind of keeping it at level 1 and 2. Because that it's 650 and 700 is the 3 and 4. So yeah. I don't know, maybe it could be a fun 400 suit now. I might just try, or 400. Level 4 suit at 700. But yeah, for the memes, for sure, if I do anything with it. Then the 01, we talked about the Vulcans. Pretty much it gained Force Injector at every level, which I had my Force Injector death. I tried to boost and dodge Force Injector during that game that I played it. But that did tell me a little bit. I'm like, no, they added Force Ejector to it. I mean, it's good, but also no.
Damn.
I got a new counter animation, which was kind of cool, where it does like a smack and then smack, something like that. So yeah, I think it just had the kick before, right? Didn't it just have the kick? So that's kind of cool, I guess. Melee boost, so it's got more melee damage at all levels. 1,000 health at all levels, definitely feeling way tankier than just, say, a Mark II. And personally, I think it's doing its job very well now. The damage from the beam rifle got increased, 5-second cooldown time from 6, 200 damage. Stagger value accumulation is now 40%, so if you shoot a raid with it, that's just straight at 40%, and then you can go to your Vulcans and finish off the stagger. Or if you hit a shield, you can just go to the Vulcans and finish off the stagger. Pretty nice build up there. And the Vulcans are GPO2 stun and higher base damage than even the GPO2 Vulcans, so pretty nice there. Ammo amount increased to 40 and 200 range. so that's pretty nice. Yeah, then the firing and bullet speed just made it the essentially GPO2 Vulcans. And that's on the GPO1 and the FB, which will, I think, is the next one on the list. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, crazy suit. I mean, we already talked about how awesome we thought it was. So yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, like it'll continue to be used. Like we have one in our match right now at 550. So
yeah, I'm definitely, it's one of my new favorite suits to play at 550 for sure. If there's a general that I don't know at 550, 600, I'm probably gonna be just using this thing.
It's definitely one of the few I don't know suits that's actually like pretty safe right now, which is funny because like when they first did the adjustments and we were seeing it at 650, it was kind of funny because they were getting in there and doing it, but they were also getting like range punished enough. But now that like people are using them more at some of the lower costs or like and whatnot, or are kind of like getting their legs back for, you know, what you do with the suit, it's starting to look a lot more aggressive. So it'll definitely be a pretty common pick, especially at more closer to base cost.
And then the FB pretty much got the same stuff for the skills though, and health and stuff. It only gained 3 melee damage, 3%. Level 2 gained some range damage, 6% on that and up from there. And then it gained the thruster output increase and reaction boost program for level 3 and 4. And the FB used to be the king of space. Period. It was the best spacesuit. You know how the mighty have fallen to power creep, as we've seen so common. But the beam rifle is the same, so it got changed the same. The Vulcans are the same, so it got changed the same, which is pretty nice because now it gives me some reason to play it and not have the high skill cap, and maybe do the Vulcan thing. So I might even try it at, you know, its base cost, even a couple of times in space. There's a space day, instead of just doing the Zeong cheese. Other than that, though, its proto large beam rifle that it has specifically gained some damage and at level 2 and up only, and focus damage as well. And that's pretty much, other than that, it's the same changes as the or 01.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll bring it back, honestly. I think it's kind of too far power creeped. Because even at level 1, its damage is missing. Yeah. Like, the damage is missing even at level 1, and if you see it here, it's like, they did nothing for the level 1. So maybe level 2 is going to be okay, but yeah, I feel like it's... Whereas the ground version, the one in space, is kind of the weaker one here.
Which is a little unfortunate, because for a long time, after some of the initial, like, power creep going on, it was actually the stronger of the two.
Right.
But we'll see. I do want to try to do some more space at that cost range. I feel like anything slightly below that, I'm usually like in Bishop range, and there's been a lot of 550 suits that have come out since then that I prefer more. But it could be fine. Like, it's a really aggro suit. Just being able to have a bit more accumulation and output while also doing what we have to do normally with the downswing and shit should be nice.
And then the raids, this one's pretty quick. The Zaku 4, we already kind of talked about it, so but the things that it gained was ballistic resist, beam resist, and melee resist, all going up by 3, 6, and 4 respectively, and then leg buffers, so your legs don't get broken so easy, going to 3, and 2,000 health, giving you 27,000 base. So that's really nice. And then the Mark V, the main things here on this, other than the shield boost thing, is it got leg buffer 2, so I noticed my legs still broke pretty quick. Hopefully they put that to 3 at some point, because I did have a leg break problem, so I might have to put a leg part on it. And then ranged part slot has increased from 5 to 7. And you know, I kind of mentioned the damage on both of these. They were pretty much fine. So what's going to be interesting is, you know, when you increase survivability or utility, typically your survival rate goes up too. So, you know, dead DPS is no DPS. So I'm curious to see if the survival rate on both of these goes up enough, and if we get a damage increase. and typically those translate to win rate. But funny enough, the Mark V rival win rate was actually higher than average. So really curious to see these numbers next time. But what do you think of the 4 in the Mark V?
Mark 5 has been, I want to say that it's been a little bit better. Like we were saying before though, it's kind of slowed down a little bit since they initially started trying to use it more. I don't know what else they could really do to it to make sure that it like kind of stays more solidly, but I think what they've chosen and worked on has been okay.
They could add the missiles. There we go.
Oh, the shoulder missiles, yeah. The fabled shoulder missiles. Yeah, the 4 is funny because a lot of people were really freaking out about that because it was, despite the stats, there has been some pretty good like runs in there. That was for me before I started using some other suits at those cost ranges more. That was the one that I used a lot on Ginny. So just having it be even more survivable and stuff now has only really made it better in that regard.
Your ace is in trouble. Your ally's been knocked down. Your ace is down for the count.
That being said, we were just off the foot of a pretty rough match at 550.
Oh, yeah, I just realized this is the Zaku 4, not the Zaku 3 Kai. Whoops.
Yeah.
Okay, so I derped. But either way, Zaku 4 is still kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, never mind on the ticket shop DP store thing.
Yeah,
Whoops.
that's not a thing. Unfortunately, but
Rip. The bonsai did not get a buff. It needs a buff, though.
it
Give
does
it a buff.
need, Bonsai needs to get touched on.
Even though I feel pretty solid in it, I'll take a buff. But yeah, the Zaku 4, there we go. The Raid Zaku 4, yes.
Even more chunk.
But I mean, it still feels pretty good though. Like, but yeah, it definitely needed just a little bit. It just now hit me when you said that. I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is
Not
the 4.
quite the right suit.
Oops. Okay, but anyway,
That's okay, though.
supports. Since I already kind of mentioned it before, I'll go ahead and just start here. The Zeta Plus C1, pretty much wants a king of its own little thing there because of the heavy stun. Speed is increased by 5, turn speed by 3, 1,500 health, and a bunch of part slots that I'm not going to go over. The main thing is at level 2 and up, it gained a bunch of part slots, and it gained, while transformed, dodge roll.
Mm-hmm.
Is the big thing there. Other than that, the rigidity time for the hip lasers, which is very nice, has been reduced. It's pretty much just your commit stance animation is the only kind of rigidity there is. Like you're like, pew pew pew, and then you're just moving. Like you're already moving before the last beam shoots. Almost, it's like the rigidity time's almost gone. It's kind of crazy.
Just a quick flex. That's fine.
Yeah. You gotta and then fire. Then the smart gun at level 2 gaining damage at both normal and focused, and that goes to all levels other than 2. Looking at the stats, again, the damage was pretty much fine, so it didn't really need too much. Hopefully, a little bit more survivability, because I mean, as a support player, it's still pretty solid. But like the big thing is the dodge roll. Like having that at least, that gives you something else to fly around with, and if you're trying to creep up on somebody, you maybe miss the shot or don't get the extra build-up stun, and you just need to maybe, instead of just kind of ramming them, you don't have enough time, you can just dodge roll at them and then transform and kind of land, and hopefully then turn and do something.
Right.
Or do the dodge roll where they shoot at you and then you transform and shoot down at them kind of thing, which is something I actually pulled off once when I was trying it. But definitely pretty cool. That honestly, the dodge roll is the biggest change to it, and again, hopefully they add that to more flyers or the fall prevention system. Well, I guess we'll do the Dagdoll last, because the Zeku guys loadout 2 gained 2,000 health. Ballistic and beam resist went up by a bit. Speed has been increased by 5 to 135. The smart gun damage to shields went up, which is kind of cool, and that pierces, which kind of an interesting little addition there. The reload shortened to 12 seconds on the grenade launcher, which is kind of odd. I mean, cool, I'll take it. Another stun that's better than the club. And then the club gained 500 damage, which is not insignificant, and 100 range, which is kind of cool. But since the ready up time is still the same, it's just going to be used as a, like, long-range starting shot, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of odd. Like, you're never going to really swap to it in the middle of a fight, unless you have nothing else to shoot. So that's kind of the downside. They didn't really buff that club good enough. But, I don't know, its damage looking kind of fine as far as its stats go on paper. So, I don't know, we'll see what it does. I mean, again, this is probably one of those cases the people that are already using it are kind of happy.
Just thriving
but I kind of wanted the club to do something. I like having more weapons, but oh well. Anything else with the Zeku Irons?
No. That's definitely one that I haven't seen make too much of a comeback, but it is what it is. I didn't really expect too much. I was more so surprised that they tried again.
And the suit that I was comparing in size to the Rizel, the Full Armor Gundam Mark III, it got some buffs, which is kind of cool. I know its damage was already fine. I saw people doing good with damage, but it gained 2,000 health, speed going to 125, high performance radar, yeah, the support skill that does absolutely nothing, and it's like, hey, we did something. Leg buffer going to 2. Backbinder going to 2 as well, and they reduced the rigidity time of the hyper beam cannons ×2, which is always a good quality of life, and the range of the grenade launcher went up by 50. Have you seen this one much?
No.
Like, yeah, I haven't seen it, but I mean, again, the stats on paper, it's got good damage across the board, even at 600 and 650.
I think there are just some suits that, like, in general, like, no matter how much they touch on them, people are always leery to take them out, especially depending on what banner's out. So,
well, I think the other problem,
left alone.
Well, the suit's so big too, right? So it's one of those, if you're not used to playing a support to where you're positioning so you don't just get bullied, you can just get stun locked. And again, the Delta Gundam exists, and it's a support. It's a yellow that's just going to bully you.
Yeah.
So,
like, here's the thing. Remember back in the day when we would have all these other supports come out, it's like, yeah, they're doing okay, but they're not Blurst level.
yeah.
Now that's the Delta now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's 600. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
And, like, even before that, it was the Super. And it's still the Super.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, if we're talking about, like, your average rated matches and stuff at those cost ranges, like, the safer picks are still going to be the more common, and they're going to be really hard to compare against. Yeah, 600 supports are super stacked.
It is awesome, though, what they did for just giving the people the super level 1 and 2. Like, the ability to buy it for DP. That's really nice. And then lastly, we got the Dagdoll buffs. So, was the recent buffs good enough to up its damage enough? I want to say, when we looked at it a month, I wish I would have brought this up. I wish I knew which month it was. But I want to say that its numbers were actually, for damage dealt, higher than average after the most recent buffs. And then this buff shows it being 2,000 low. So,
Oh, wow.
that's kind of a oops. So, it definitely some power creep from everything, I think, kind of hurt it. Mainly Unicorn and stuff. But, 2,000 health they added to it, which is kind of crazy. All the resist got buffed, so now from 2830 and 20 to 32, 35, 25, so pretty significant across the board there. 5 speed for 135. It gained melee combo controller, so you got the 2 melees on things, which is kind of awesome. Also upping its damage even further there if you get in for the melee combos. Damage control 1, which is kind of nice. Still doesn't have like any kind of shield stun prevention or anything, but you know, I'll always complain about that. Same with the Gin. And then the back add-on buffer for the Big Brain. For the Big Brain, there we go. Which I think that's it. I'm pretty sure the special back add-on buffer is the Big Brain part. If it isn't, then oops. But either way, that should be 30% damage reduction. And then the overheat on the shotgun gut beam is now every 12 seconds from 15.
Nice.
And they also upped the stagger value. The main thing with this is, can you stun raids? And that's the thing. I'm like, that's going to be the main question, right? Obviously, stunning the enhanced double zeta might be a little much to ask, but that was
Enhanced double zeta came back a little bit and then just like went away again though. So
yeah, like that was the scariest thing for the gut beam. But now even I was having trouble stunning even some more of the recent raids. So, but overall, that's kind of the. Like, I'm really curious to see how this is. I haven't got to really play it yet, test it out too much, so. But yeah, I definitely want to play some Dagdoll, check it out, get in there for an actual, like, full-on game, and get a couple of rounds in. But yeah, the melee combo is kind of nice on supports. Just for countering another support kind of thing. But I'm curious to see the next month's stats, though, for this suit for sure. Yeah. Anything else on the buffs and nerfs?
I will say once again, especially for the Dagdoll, I have not seen it a lot in terms of people even like trying it out since then. So it's hard to really know if it's actually done a whole lot for it. Oh, it doesn't. Combo controller doesn't apply to the spear. Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, that's right. It has just the one.
The big sad. This is a big swing. I mean, you're doing a downswing for the most part anyway, but still.
But you can
Something to
still
keep
do
in
like a
mind.
side swipe kind of thing, or the neutral. But you can go back to the beam saber and do the 2-hit to keep another support stun. So you can just like smack, then smack him with the lance, and then smack, kind of thing. Keep him with the 2-hit. Other than that, though, we kind of talked about some of the speculation earlier, so instead of kind of repeating what we said as far as what could be coming out,
What's going on, Bite?
what do you think is going to happen, I guess, by the end of this month? And, like, do you think we're going to see a 4-star in February? And what do you think we're going to see next?
I think Golden Week is probably going to be the next big thing. We might go into another kind of just like mid-banner kind of bonanza, where it's just like a lot of either AOZ stuff, maybe some in-betweeners, other side stories. I really just want them to confirm how far we're going to go at this point. They've already projected the idea that they're going to be going for at least a couple more years in terms of the game in general. But if they keep it up at this rate with the actual like suit a week thing, we need to see just how far they're willing to take it in terms of the series and whatnot. So obviously Hathaways, like we were talking about, they still have a fair amount of suits that will be available for there. Obviously they're going to be really chunky and kind of weird, but they'll still try to pull them off. Big suits they're not afraid of, it's just smaller suits right now.
And then, yeah, I guess kind of my guess for that then, I'm going to go with Hathaways on Golden Week, that kind of deal, and then F91 for the anniversary is my guess if they do Hathaways now, because they just mentioned the Hathaway anniversaries coming up because there was just like some show on whatever, so I feel like Hathaway's coming soon, so we might get a piece of it by the end of the month, and then something by the end for Golden Week. So that's kind of my guess on that. I can see
Yeah, like,
F91 being
F-
like an anniversary thing.
F90 has its own like wave of series. It's like everything before they started miniaturizing. So F90 is still viable for like the regular size and scaling. F91 would probably be something they would announce closer to anniversary though if they actually did do it, and if not, they would probably just do like a bunch of F90 adjacent shit.
Probably, yeah. And I mean, just seeing some suits like the Rosen Zulu would be something that would be cool.
Yeah, we still haven't got that fucking thing yet.
Yeah, there's still some really cool suits that we could get. So, but any other ideas? Because I mean, at this point, if you can guess whatever suit's coming out next week, then well played. You deserve an award of some kind. You deserve just to have the suit.
Yep, for as many suits as we have, with the fact that they're delving into so many side series, it's really anybody's guess right now. Like it's only gotten more hard to try to assume at this point.
But that said, though, do you want to go ahead and get into some shoutouts?
Okie dokie. So, I am Gustav the 13th, Gustav_X_I on most social media. Currently doing a lot of GBO2 as well as modded Cyberpunk. Also checking out Champions of the Continent on occasion for those content updates and whatnot. We are also trying to bang out some other videos. I have one for the Rizal coming up pretty soon. Hopefully I can finish that tonight and get it at least some processing by the end of today. Outside of that, there's a lot of Yakuza stuff that's going to be coming up for our secondary games, Ishin, and as well as when we eventually hear more about the next actual like a Dragon entry. So we definitely have a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. Hopefully I'll see you guys around on Twitch, YouTube, and whatnot. What about you, Magnum?
Well, as always, I'll put the links and stuff in the description below, but I am EG Magnum. I got a Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram. There we go. I think I finally remember to say all of them. Content definitely coming to the Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, I have been working on it. I promise. I actually have.
I mean, if we're honest, Instagram should be pretty easy. Just dog stuff.
I mean, pretty much it's just clips, and then literally it's TikTok. Oh well, dog stuff. Yeah, doggo pics. Like right now, he's.
Yo, we actually have a big brain in our match right now.
Hey, let's go.
He's over there with a Kshatriya, actually.
But yeah, gonna have some Gundam, Tarkov, maybe some Path of Exile this week. There's a new build that I've started that I kind of want to do, so I might just do a little bit of it on stream. Once it gets going, it's one of those builds that you kind of can't play it till you have all the items on. So I'm just doing leveling as a speed leveling build, and then I'll just throw everything on, and hopefully it works. And if it doesn't, then I gotta make some more money till it works.
Oh boy, good luck.
But honestly, though, what happened was there was a build of the week that just came out with it, and it looked really cool. So I bought the items right then and there. I didn't buy all the items because there were some expensive ones, and just to put it this way, one of the items like went up 10 times whatever the value was. So yeah, there are a few people definitely doing the build.
Just a few.
Because that's a bit of a price increase. But anyway, other than that though, like I said, Tarkov, GBO2, gonna try to have some more content coming out for the shorts and TikTok kind of stuff, and any of that will probably be on Instagram as well. I do need to get some more just doggo pics on the Instagram and random things. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Gonna have a stream. I should be on Banner Night for sure, but maybe depending on what happens tomorrow or Tuesday, I'll either have one. If not, I'll just have Banner Night, and then Thursday and Friday I'll figure that out whenever the time comes. But yeah, definitely Tarkov and GBO2 this week. Maybe a little Path of Exile splashed in, but that's about it. But anyway, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that. But anyway, guys, that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace!
Later. I totally didn't realize what cost I was going into, and I just threw the fucking Carl into 700. Oh god.
Good luck. But yeah, pretty tired. I chugged an energy drink before this, and I'm drinking one right now just to stay
Oh god.
Energized. So
That's
I'm gonna go
all
ahead
she
and
wrote
wrap
for
up.
you.
Yeah, pretty much. Are you
That's
gonna keep
fair.
going?
We're in this match, so how long did we go? About 2 hours or so. Maybe I'll do like another round and then I'll try to find somebody to raid.
Well, here, I'll just eat everybody over to you. Then I'm gonna head to bed.
Yeah, time to go lay down, buddy.
So, and the cool thing is, I just pretty much did my outro. So I'm just gonna type this and hit this button and not click anywhere off the screen. I hate how the raid menu pops out, and then if you kind of accidentally click the side of it, outside of it, it just cancels the countdown.
Mhm.
But and then I'm gonna figure out what this dog aggro is. But anyway, I'll talk to you later. See you here in a second.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks for the podcast.
No problem.
See ya.
This damage shouldn't affect you much. You've taken some serious
My god.
damage. An ally has destroyed an... Your ally's been knocked out.
Woo. God damn.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
I mean, if we want to talk about big concerns, sir,
Don't give up yet.
are you gonna be going to the doctor again soon? Considering that you've been pretty much posting about you being sick in my chat for like a week plus.
Your ally's been knocked out.
What did I just connect into?
An ally
No.
has destroyed an enemy mobile. Good luck. Allied signal detected.
Oh my lord, we got a raid. Who could it possibly be? EG Magnum with the raid, thank you very much. Kind of in the middle of this round, so I'm probably gonna take a second to try to get my camera back up. Ah, I was hoping that would actually count a little bit better. There goes our yay. Oh shit. It's a really bizarre match. First of all, I'm a dumbass and I shouldn't have been in a Carl. But also, he had a game elk running around. He had a big brain and a fucking bell pepper on the other team. There we go. It's a little bit sloppy, but it got done at least. Blech. But yeah, we'll probably do one more round after this and then wrap up ourselves. This is very map specific. I don't know if this is specifically the map for it. Oh boy, here we go.
1 minute remaining.
What just dropped?
Your ally's been knocked.
Who was over there? Oh my god. I still have enough time. This is a little bit scary though, because 4 can also get clipped pretty easy. Oh god. And they're starting to... I'm too fat. Oh shit. There's something closing in. What is that? Oh god. Yeah. Nah, I don't think we're gonna be able to... Yeah, we're not gonna recover from this. That sucks. Big sad shit. I need to redo the cam. Hold on. Don't crash everything. Just be okay. Hi.
Time has run out.
That was my bad though. Anyway, sleep is good. Yeah. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you for the raid. Alright, let us not be in this thing again for this one. We will not be doing Stream Raider for today, mostly just because we were doing the podcast mostly, so we have to go for at least another daily's worth of time.
Making preparations for sortie. Sortie application accepted.
Alright, we can go to 650 though, and do it, try to do it normal, right? That'll be fine. You know what it was too, is I was shifting here and I went too far and I saw the game lock and I'm like, surely that's not, you know, the 700 one. No, not at all. It just randomly picked trenches because it was on random. No. Stupid. We also do have the new Defensor B unit though, so if we can run it, we might as well try. I've been enjoying this thing actually. It's been pretty nice.
Feel free to make any final preparations as the team is formed.
What? Give handed over? No, it's not for you. Not allowed, don't you?
As the team is formed.
Having shit that you want, not in this house. Too bad. Yeah, I'll probably redo it tomorrow because we weren't gonna be doing the goose for the podcast. Doing the capture is always a pain in the ass, so that's okay. That being said though, I should probably complete a bunch of the redeems because we accumulated a little bit from the other day.
Feel free to make any final preparations as the team is formed.
Alright, there we go. Alright, hold on. Do we? Oh, well, that C1's still there, but that's okay. We're actually gonna get a Kivale Mark II, huh? Oh yeah, he doubled down. He's got the plant and everything. Oh Lord. I will say, I still feel that the Rozelle's initial debut kind of got overshadowed by a lot of the other unit adjustments, but I think as people have kind of put those other toys away, it's kind of remained, so I think it's done its job.
Let's get to work. Mobile suit team, sorting one by one.
Alright, there we go. It's set up. going on, Rock? How be? What do? Started a little bit early today because we did the podcast just now, so this will be our final run.
Here we go! Commence operation!
Hopefully we can do okay here. Now that we're not a fucking goose out Carl at 700 on trenches.
We captured a beacon!
Oh shit. No. Ooh, Mark 5. Oh boy. There's two! After I just said that, we were seeing it less too. How dare this game. Oh, something stopped it. Oh god. Putting Wofei in Ultron apparently means you just win everything? Oh god.
Your ally's been knocked. Pick where and how you'll sortie.
Yeah, Wofei was really aggressive for us.
Your ally's been
He was one of the, I want to say he was one of the other characters that actually took a long time to get replaced by everyone wanting OCs on the team for the stream.
long range
Him and Setsuna.
coming in high. Firing's over. Ugh, that's support. Good luck. The enemy's captured a beacon. Enemy mobile suit destroyed. The enemy's captured a beacon.
What is that though? Oh, it's another me.
Your ally's been knocked out. An ally has destroyed an enemy.
What a pain in the ass.
Your ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Oh my god. Rest in pizza pasta your legs.
Fire incoming. Your ally's been knocked out. You've taken some serious damage. Whoa, your mobile suit isn't looking good.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one.
Your ally's been knocked out. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Oh, there's a pilot trying to get in there. I think he stopped him, but yeah, this is too consistent. We need a whole other wipe to be even close.
Good luck.
I don't see that happening.
Your ally's been knocked out. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Your ally's been
Yeah, we shitting me? Oh, but of course he draws his just fine. Fuck me, I guess. Get out of here.
Don't give up yet. Hang in there.
Oh god, come on, 5.
Down.
There he is. Good. Get him!
Fire incoming. An ally is defusing a bomb.
Oh, they advanced, but they advanced the other way. Ah, shit.
We captured a beacon. We've taken some serious damage. Whoa, your mobile suit isn't looking good. You're out. 2 minutes left in the mission. Just jumped up in priority. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Bruh.
Your mobile suit has had it. Your ally's been knocked out.
So it's been pretty good. There's been we've had some pretty good matches in it.
Your
But every once in a while you start to
ally has destroyed an enemy.
feel it, especially when there's a more aggressive team out here. Or when you can't maintain height.
Get left. 1 minute remaining. Hold steady. Your ally's been knocked out. Supporting back. This damage didn't affect you. Whoa, your mobile suit isn't looking good. Long range supporting fire coming in hot. Oh no, your mobile suit has had it. What? Your ally's been knocked out. The supporting fire scored some nice hits. Time for cleanup.
So 3 raids, yeah.
Your ally's been knocked out.
Yeah, 2 Mark 5s, and if that actually is a Shazar, then 3 of them. It is interesting though, because like, at this cost range, because of the fact that they can do a fair amount of mid-range and stuff, and just like charge in with very little like interruption,
Fine.
um,
Get him next time.
if people really do start using them a lot more, yeah, there it is, then they can actually cover a lot of that range while also just doing big dumb like melee damage. So 3 raids, 2 supports, and just 1 GPO1 running around.
Here are this back.
So not a great one to end on, but it is what it is. Because I had to try to finish up the video about this thing. Overall though, I've been enjoying it. When it doesn't work, it really doesn't work sometimes, but
Good work out there.
but the damage on this, especially like I was saying before, if you're used to doing Rizal stuff, you can get away with pretty much doing that.
There you are. I'm in here. Take this.
If you feel like you don't really have a lot of openings to use the shoulder cannons and still do well. Just like the good old days. What the fuck? The food old days, you hungry? Thank you, autocorrect. Just also like the good old days. GP1 with his god Vulcans, yeah. The vicious little monster that it is running around. And as it is, I'm already gonna be probably going to sleep late because of the fucking video. I don't need to compound on that with doing more until we win. Lord knows how long that'll take. if it's actually going to be like that all the time. In fact, I'm surprised we got some pretty good ones during the podcast itself, because normally podcast days are where I fucking plummet because I'm not paying attention and I'm like having to know when to talk. But I can't sit still. Like, if I was actually just doing the podcast itself, I'd be suffering the entire time. I'd rather just keep busy. Let me see. What is this format? I see Yamamoto is streaming, but he's got like 2 screens up. I'm assuming maybe he's playing with somebody and he's just doing like a split thing for the screen itself. It's kind of weird. Unless he's just watching something. The other screen seems to be like caught or some shit. Yeah, there's too much going on the screen. There's like a whole weird anime going on in the background too. Like, bruh. The queue can't be that bad. Yeah, we'll go somewhere else. Oh my god, right? Because I think, isn't that one of the models where they have fucking Vulcans like plastered on them? And they just don't use them or utilize them? But even so, like the arm Vulcans or whatever should be more on par with that. Let me see something. Who else is doing what today? Facets during some Final Fantasy. I think Buyu might be done. Unless he just started. They're gonna do a little Nemo. It's a sponsored stream too? Huh. I didn't know they were doing another little Nemo game. Unless it's like a fan game. Oh, he just started too. Yeah, we'll go see what that's about. Alright, so we'll go say hi to Buyu. Do the usual spiel as well. So GS3 and GKN are our clans for Gundam Battle Operation 2. GS3 is where we specifically focus on trying to get the clan suits and get those banners. Although, since the next one's gonna actually be tomorrow morning, it's not looking like that's gonna happen, because who the fuck would do this on Monday morning unless they had a different time zone, so, you know. Hopefully some other people, we'll see how that turns out for other groups. Outside of that, we'll probably be trying to do the next one, since it is gonna be the first top 40. Beyond that, GKN is our purely casual clan of the two. So if you're just looking to grind your DP and I almost said Vulcans, tokens, then be sure to check that out. That is open to the public. Don't have to be acceptance only for that. And we will be doing, I kind of want to continue a little bit more Cyberpunk tomorrow, but we did more champions yesterday and I kind of want to touch on that too. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know when we actually do the ready up. And of course we'll be doing our GBO2 dailies as well. So until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, or whatever, and I'll talk to you all later.